Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Uncertainty, self-doubt, stressing about not knowing where to start. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Word art. Sorry, live, laugh, lovers. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Hastings, Michigan, a vicious murder involving lust and money causes a scandal to erupt in the community. But once the sordid tale is brought to light, will anyone even end up paying the price? Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. We're so excited to be here today. I know you are because you loaded up for your yay.
Yeah.
There's a yay that just comes out, and then there's a yay that you kind of I can see you loading it, and then it.
I really got to push it out.
You're like, pow, you cock your body to pow, there, it's going to come out now.
A little bit of recoil.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. We are very, very excited to be here, like I said, and we're just thank you for being here. First of all, thank you for your reviews this week. They help a lot. Apple Podcast, that purple icon. Don't know why they help, but they do. So give us 5 stars on there if you would. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com immediately, right now. Well, when the episode's over with. You know, you don't want to.
As soon as you finish this shit.
Yeah, you don't want to miss the story. But anyway, head over there right now. Get all your merchandise. New stuff is up all the time. Crime and sports stuff and small town murder stuff. And if you haven't listened to Crime and Sports, this is a good week to start because we kind of lost our minds this week. So if you want to hear us just kind of snap and go crazy and not really care anymore, That's the episode to listen to on Kabari Salem, the boxer. So check that out. It's crazy. And there's murder. So you'll like it all around. So check that out and do all of that. Get your tickets to live shows. My goodness, so many live shows out there all throughout 2022, the end of 2021. Get your tickets now. A lot of them have been on sale. They went on sale like 2 years ago or something, a year and a half ago, literally a year and a half ago. So
nobody does this.
No. So there's, tickets are gone in a lot of these places. So check that all out. Do that. Also listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie because I watched Britney Spears' movie this week and had a lot to say about that. If you'd like to hear my impression of Robert De Niro being Britney Spears, that's the place to go to it there. And Patreon this week, oh my goodness, what a good week. If you haven't gotten on Patreon yet, this is a good week to get started. And by the way, anybody over the $5 level, you get access to all the Patreon episodes.
Every one of them.
Both shows. This week for the Crime and Sports one, which you get, as well as the Small Town Murder one, we have avoidable off-field injuries. So this is going to be a lot of fun. No sports involved, just people doing really stupid things to ruin their careers. Because one of our subjects in an episode got thrown down the stairs by a Studio 54 bouncer, ripped up his knee, and he never really played again. And he was like a top all-star basketball player, top level, 28 points a game.
He was Michael Jordan's idol. It's who he wanted to be.
And there you go. So check that out. It's really going to be wild stuff. And then Small Town Murder is going to be even crazier because people all over the world and even all over the country, they ask us, what's going on in Florida? What's up? Why is there weird stuff happening down there?
I'd like to know too.
So we're going to look back over, I don't know, they'll come from the last 100 years. They're all peppered in there of crazy Florida murders that I can find in newspapers and things. And you can guarantee there's going to be an alligator involved in a couple of them. Yeah. It's going to be weird stuff. So check that out. We're so excited. Patreon.com/crimeandsports. Patreon.com/crimeandsports. And if you do that, you'll also be a producer. So that means you get a shout out at the end of the show. Jimmie will mispronounce your name while trying his best to say it correctly. And you can do that. And if you just want to get a shout out and have great karma and our undying love and affection, you can do that over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com.
Terrific.
Disclaimer time. Yeah. This is a comedy show. We're comedians. Jokes are going to happen along with death.
Oh yeah,
that's the show. It's Small Town Murder, and we're comedians. So all the facts are real. We're not making stuff up to get any kind of thing like that. And we're not excited about murder either. We're not like, oh, good, they're dismembering this person. That'll be hilarious. That's not what we say. The comedy comes from so many other places.
Yeah,
bumbling, people who blowing an investigation and letting a murderer walk free. Just the idea of, I think we can kill this person and get away with it. That's hilarious because it's
nuts,
crazy. So if you think that's all good, and one thing we go out of our way to do, and we always do, is we try not to make fun of the victim or the victim's family.
Why?
Because we're assholes,
but
we're not scumbags. That's
there you have it.
So if that sounds good, I think it's time to sit back, clear the lungs, and shout, "Shut up!
Shut up and
give me murder!" We went a little crazy on that one. We apologize. But anyway, let's do this, Jimmie. Let's go on a trip. What do you say?
Let's get after it.
Let's do it here. We're going back to Michigan. Oh, boy. Here we go. Back up to Michigan. We're going to Hastings, Michigan.
Lovely.
The murder happened in Hope Township, which is it's pretty much part of Hastings. It's all counted in the population of Hastings. So we're just going to do Hastings as the umbrella town here.
Great.
It's in southwestern Michigan, but more toward kind of central Michigan. It's about 40 minutes to Grand Rapids. It's over in that direction. About 2 hours and 10 minutes to Detroit. So far away from there. And about 2 hours and 20 minutes to Brownstown Township, which was episode 200 back in early December of 2020. Shit town. So Barry County, this is in area code 269.
Barry like a guy's name or like the...
Barry, Barry.
Okay.
Barry County. 5 square miles in... So it's not a huge place. It's just kind of a few little towns kind of stuck out in the middle of nowhere by themselves out here. Yeah. And the motto here is, quote, "We treasure the old, progress with the new." So I don't know. That's so silly. I don't even have a second one for that. That's just.
I mean, it encompasses a lot.
With that, I think that's what it is. It's really like we're going for a broad audience, and we cast a wide net. Is basically what they say. We don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah.
We treasure the old, but we do progress with the new as well. So everybody's welcome. Pay your taxes. That's basically what they're saying here. So history of this town, little history, we'll go through it very quickly here. In 1836, 3 entrepreneurs bought 480 acres here from a Detroit banker and called it Hastings. The Detroit banker's name was Hastings, so that's how it ended up being Hastings.
Nice connection.
Very, very easy here. There was a sash, doors, blinds, and hardwood lumber company here for a long time. Dickey and Prentice. About 1865, they did a whole deal here. In 1878, Bentley Brothers and Wilkins came in, and I think they're still in business, this one.
Really?
I'm not sure.
And
but
hardwood floors and shit?
I guess that's what they made at the time. Sash, doors, blinds, hardwood lumber, and agricultural tools.
Yeah, I'm not sure what a sash door is.
I'm not sure about a sash either, but they make them. If you're looking for a sash, I think maybe that's the place to do it here. So a lot of sawmills in this area.
Yeah.
That's, there was connected with the furniture, with the factory that made all that shit was a sawmill. So they just bring the wood right in and make
beautiful.
All one big deal. There's a place in Phoenix that has hot dogs like that where they have a big... Shriners.
Makes them? Oh, Shriners on 7th. Yeah.
That's They make those jalapeno cheddar dogs are the most incredible. Really? The cheese oozes out. They're insane, those hot dogs.
I've never been in the place, but that's my mom's maiden name, so I always pointed it out. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's this little tiny place. The like store part is like half the size of my studio.
Right.
It's this
tiny.
Little tiny box, and you order your shit, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Wow.
Get Shriners, everybody in Phoenix. So it'll cheer you up from the sun sucking. So anyway, which we told you would happen, by the way.
Yeah, you called it.
It happened. It's James, not hard to call, honestly.
They picked a hell of a time to lose 4 in a row. They've never lost 4 in a row all season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'll go to great lengths to break our hearts. That's why I said even if they won the championship at the parade, I'd be going, what's going to happen? I don't think so. Something's going I wouldn't trust it.
The car carrying Devin Booker would careen off the road into a fucking canal or something.
Well, that's his problem. We already got the title. That's all I care about. I don't know, whatever. That's fine. I'm saying
trophy.
They'd stop the trophy. The commissioner, Adam Silver there, would come out, stop the parade and say, we've changed our minds. We've reviewed the tape. And actually, you're not the champions. That's what happened. So
there was a foul in the third quarter, negating 12 points.
Yeah. So here's a guy's life in this town. Slocum H. Bunker. He built the first house devoted to entertainment. And it was a boarding house for mill hands. And yet he also served booze and, had, I'm sure, women. And
sure.
It was
it's an entertainment house. You know what that means.
It was like the gem. It was and entertainment's in quotes, by the way, which definitely means that they sold women.
It's a long word for pussy, sir.
Yeah. So then Levi Chase was the proprietor of the first Hastings Tavern, which was like a shitty log building, and that stood near the riverbank. And he gave up the tavern in 1842 and then retired and died there. So died of the spotted fever.
Yikes. What is that?
I don't know. Some 1800s
What is
disease
this spotted fever?
That we've long wiped out with a... Who knows? It'll probably be back soon with the way...
Oh, yeah. It's coming.
I'm sure it'll be back.
It'll be here in a minute.
Spotted fever, everybody. Watch out for it. So reviews... Who knows? I don't know. Reviews of this town. Here's a 5-star review. Quote, it's a small town. Everyone knows everyone. There are a few bars and the casino isn't too far. Well, that's always a plus there. Yeah. But there's no clubs, which I'm okay with. So why are you mentioning it if you don't care? Just in case you're looking for it.
Keeping the people out for looking for them, I guess?
Yes. Don't come here if you're looking to be, go clubbing. People really get involved with the community. There are love bands at the Amphitheater. Love bands?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what the fuck that is. Little festival.
Bands.
Love bands. You just really just tighten it up. Little festivals and farmers markets. There are several stores to choose from, so you don't need to leave town if you don't want. Alrighty. The schools aren't the greatest, but as of this year, they're doing a huge remodel, so that could be changing. Well, the actual building doesn't have any correlation to the level of education that's going on inside of it.
Have you seen Yale? It is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure modern technology could help certain things, but if it's a shit school, it's probably going to be a shit school, even if you put it at the Ritz-Carlton. It's going to be a shitty school inside the Ritz-Carlton at that point.
Drywall doesn't come with curriculum.
No, it doesn't. It's weird. You think it would, but all in all, it's a great place to raise a family. All righty, unless you want to send your kids to the school, which apparently isn't very good. 5 stars. Hey, or go clubbing. 5 stars. Hastings is a beautiful, although small town in Michigan. The libraries are filled with current and useful information. Well, terrific. What do you mean they keep books in the library and like newspapers and stuff? Wild. Wow. Thanks for the tip.
Novel idea.
It's weird. When you go to restaurants there, you can get food, I hear. It's strange. It's this crazy thing.
Maybe they've been to Omaha and they know what happens in some parts of this world. Maybe. So they're like, at the mattress factory, they don't serve food here. They actually have mattresses.
It's all mattresses. They have... This is crazy, though. Yeah, cars drive on the road here, Jimmie.
It's bananas.
It's wild. Dog parks and playgrounds are plentiful. The people are so nice, you can't go anywhere without seeing someone you know. Okay. Gross. Okay. Yeah. Here's 2 stars. Different opinion. 2 stars. Quote, I grew up here and I wish I hadn't. So that's a good way to start it out. Yep. In a rural town, there's not much to do other than drive around. True. Growing up, the schools seemed like they didn't care about the student safety, as there was asbestos in my elementary school and things in the schools were falling apart. Well, maybe that remodel will fix that up. So that's helpful.
They're fixing it, sir.
Hopefully that'll work that out. The town seems to be filled with meth addicts and racists, flying Confederate flags all over town. Several reviews were about the incessant number of Confederate flags here. There was There's a lot of people talking about. Michigan is. There's some redneck shit going on in Michigan. It's out of all the northern states, it has potential for most rednecky in certain areas. It really does. And we love Michigan. I fucking love Detroit and all that shit. It's
Nugent
great.
And Kid Rock.
But it's some weird shit. How do people think that looks to outsiders? Not friendly, that's for sure. I grew He's like, not friendly, everybody. I grew up without internet access due to living in a very rural area, yet teachers still expected me to be able to get things done online without having proper resources in the school and at home. That's a bigger issue of rural people not having the access that we need. So, but anyway, 2 stars there. So it is ranked here on the Sperling's best website, Sperling's best places. I found that it is ranked as number 2 most secure large city in the U.S. It's not a large city, though. I'll tell you the population. You're going to go large. Number 15, America's best cities for a healthy retirement. It's freezing up there. I don't know what the hell kind of retirement. Number 18, most comfortable summer cities. I bet summers are beautiful up there. Number 19, hypertension hotspots. So there's that. Watch out for that. And then 19, best cities for teleworking. All right. Okay.
I mean, it sounds great, but you stay in your home, be secure, and don't leave, or else you're going to be frustrated, evidently, with the hypertension, right?
But if you go to the library, you're going to be very happy with the selection and the current nature of their publications.
You can learn all about your hypertension.
Yeah. People in this town, 7,289. So that's a tiny place for them to even call it a city. It's up 11% since 1990, so it's crept up a little bit. More females than males in this by a decent margin, actually, more than usual for a town of this size. Median age here is 33 and a half, so it's about 4 years younger than normal. Married population's slightly low, but it's pretty much in the range. All the normal stats are pretty much there, except less single people with no children. So
really,
yeah, well, no clubs either. So if you're looking to party and find some single unattached people, your prospects are slim in Hastings, everyone.
It sounds as though the club people who search areas to find demographics, to find where to build a club, are very well aware that the whole reason to go to their club does not exist here.
Yeah, it just doesn't exist. They have a
fucking.
It's a club that has a nursery in it, so that's a thing. You just have a you just drop your kid off. They cleared out the coat check area of an older club. Made it the
2
nursery.
free drink tickets with drop off of a kid.
I mean, the kids, you give them a couple drinks, they go right to sleep. You know how they are. Yeah. So, race of this town, 94% white, which is a lot. 0.3% black. Okay. That is not a lot of black people to be, between Chicago and Detroit. 2.1% Asian, which is about half the usual, and then 1.1% Hispanic. So it is.
Okay.
This is pretty goddamn white here. 23% of the people here are religious, which is less than half the average. It's normally 50-50. And it's spread around pretty even. The highest percentage of denomination is other Christian. So,
wow.
Other Christian faith. So I don't know what the hell's going on up there. The Confederacy, does that count as a Christian faith? I mean, some parts of the country I feel like it does, but I don't know. 0.0% Jewish, though, and 0.0% Muslim as well. In this county, Barry County, in the last election, 33% Democrat and 65.3% Republican, and less than 2% independent. So I expected more independent up there, if I'm being honest.
Really?
So,
Michigan? Is that a popular thing there?
In rural Michigan, yeah. Well, if you're, the Confederacy doesn't exist, so if you're down with that, I feel like maybe you're looking for an outside opinion. I don't know.
Looking for anybody else.
You're not looking for one of the two majors, I'm thinking. Yeah. So unemployment here is a little bit lower than the average. A lot of manufacturing jobs here. It's about 25% of the jobs are manufacturing jobs,
that's Michigan.
It's that fluctuates, and then the economies kind of go up and down. There's a lot more people here making under $15,000 a year than usual here. And then median household income everywhere in the country, the average is about $57,500. Here it's $48,114. So almost there. Not terrible. Cost of living, $100 is average, regular. Okay. Here it is $83,500. Okay. So not too low, but the housing is super low.
Okay.
So housing is a 53 out of 100.
My God.
Median home cost, $122,100.
So affordable.
Affordable. Not a lot of stuff available, though. That's kind of like the value of the houses. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Now, I found here, and if you if you need to go there, you know what we have for you? Aren't you lucky? Your lucky day, because we have for you the Hastings, Michigan Real Estate Report. Average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $910 a month, which makes no sense because to buy a house, it's like a way cheaper thing. So housing, the rental is not the way to go. There's tons of land here for sale, all sorts of land.
Just empty-ass land.
That's cheap. I found 8.5 acres on a lake. Yeah. On a big lake, just 8.5 acres of woods on a lake. I mean, if you wanted to build something, $79,900.
That's 10,000 an acre.
That's what I mean. Even if you wanted to build a cabin or something that wouldn't cost that much,
that's amazing.
For under $150,000, you could get 8.5 acres on a lake with a cabin done.
Unbelievable.
That's pretty good. I found a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 816 square foot little house. Kind of dumpy, not going to lie. Yeah, sure. Not great. The other house next to it's a little too close to it. Just kind of claustrophobic. $127,500. So not that cheap either. No. Then I found a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,586 square foot house. So you can, have a couple of kids.
This is the mansion?
This is the mansion. It's kind of busted up. It's a little not perfect. It's got a decent sun porch out on the one side. That's okay. Not the best though. $162,900, which if you got a couple of kids and it's not a bad price to somewhere where you could all fit.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
Trick's got to be a roommate or some shit like that.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what's going on here. Things to do in this town. Oh my goodness, this sounds like something else. It's like a catch-all festival. I found basically it doesn't really have a theme. It's Hastings Summerfest. So, it's
encompassing, yeah.
It's really, and it's August 27th through the 29th, so you can still go.
It's right now.
It's the annual summer festival held in downtown Hastings by the Barry Chamber of Commerce, and features arts and crafts, vendors on the courthouse lawn, concessions. So the whole town's like taken up by this. Like, you probably can't drive in the main part of town.
I'll bet you're right.
But they close the roads off. Free trolley rides, children's activities, a softball tournament, a weightlifting contest.
Oh, my God.
A weightlifting I hope they do that right on the double yellow, right in the middle of the goddamn street. I really do. I hope they put the fucking bench straddling the double yellow and have shirtless people screaming and lifting weights in the middle of the street. That's what I hope goes on here.
Whose idea was this? How exhausted were they of ideas that they were like, I don't know, we could lift shit.
We could lift shit. This sounds like a prison event. Yeah. Besides the car show, it sounds like the prison event. We have 3-on-3 basketball tournaments and weightlifting contests on the courthouse. That's where we're going to do it. It sounds like a goddamn prison event, like family day at prison.
Well, that's just going to be for us. What are we going to do for everybody else? I don't know. I could have my cousin Theo bring his Impala down here.
I mean, he's real proud of it. He's real proud of it. I'll tell you what. We could just have him bring it on.
It doesn't run. He'll have to put it on a tow truck, but it's an old car.
He's got what we could do is it's a convertible. So if we stick a Confederate flag in one of the seats, it'll fly high out of it. So there is that. So it is they have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, like I said, a softball tournament as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is like Funny Farm. If this is like the where like remember the fishing tournament and he hooks the guy and shit. I wonder if it's like that.
It's gotta be.
There's
Rosebud.
Come on, Rosebud. Who's playing? We get a 5K and a 10K run, a fun run, which I guess is less structured. It's whenever you're done.
No time limit.
No, a weightlifting competition, like I said, and then if you're all done with that and you're tired of being in the main town square, there's a quote, I don't even want to know what this is, a backwoods triathlon, which is like you punch your wife, fuck your sister, and accidentally shoot yourself in the leg. That's a backwoods triathlon, I feel like.
Try to outrun hillbilly rape in the woods with a bullet wound.
Molest your sister, hide your meth, and then escape a police intervention. That's the hillbilly backwoods triathlon.
While the bloodhounds chase your scent.
That's it. Come on, everybody. It's a backwoods triathlon. Jesus Christ, man. They have a car.
And the people handing water just handed you moonshine as you run through the woods.
Yeah, and you're like, oof, boy. Oof. People just dropping dead. People just stopping, forgetting what they were doing because they're shit-faced. The hell am I out here for again?
I want to do one of those kind
Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Where did I put that meth now? I know I hit it and I just ran. So at the car show, it is a $15 vehicle entrance fee. And they're going to have arts and crafts and all sorts of shit like that. Bring your family in your classic or antique car or truck and enjoy the Summerfest. 30-plus trophies will be awarded, and Best in Show even will be awarded. So
for the car show?
For the car show. You could
30 fucking trophies?
30 trophies, all sorts of categories. Old one, vans, trucks, cars, muscle cars, cruiser. They probably break it into a million.
30 trophies. How many guy with the most tread on his tires still?
You probably have to break it down into times too.
Yeah.
You can't gotta have 1930 to 1950, then like the 50s one. You can't have like an 86 Corvette competing with a 57 Chevy. They're just not the same.
Why not?
Piece of machinery, They're not the same, Jimmy. Jesus, we need to hand out 30 fucking trophies and prolong this.
Jesus, the trophy ceremony will take all day.
That's what I mean. Well, you're paying $15. You got to see something. Yeah. They have a live DJ there as well. Boy. What do you think they're playing?
I don't know. I've got
a commercial for like Jock Rock, like Jock Rock 6 or something.
Yeah. It is all oldies all day, James. You've been to a car show?
Yeah, that's true. It's a bunch of old people at that. So
it's crazy.
There you go. Crime rate, what we're interested in this town here. Property crime is about 1/3 less than or under the national average. So there's that. So the crime rate, property is not that bad. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, obviously. It's about 25% under the national average. So it's got it's pretty safe. And it's pretty
charm.
It's pretty rural. So I mean there's not a lot of, I always say you really got to want it if you're not crammed in with people and you're still being violent, you really have to want it at that point.
You're just a bad guy.
Yeah, you got to seek it out. Like, I get it if you're living in like a tenement building in 1912. You're going to stab a neighbor once in a while. There's 100,000 people living in a building meant for 600 people. So I get that, but this is rural. You don't stab a guy on the next farm. Walk to your own farm.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? So,
and you'll cool off by the time you get there. That's a long walk.
It's a long walk. So, anyway, let's talk about a murder, shall we?
All right.
Let's get into this here. We have to go back in time a bit to January of 1986.
Yeah.
So, let's do that here in our time machine. Okay. January of 1986 is where we'll start. And we'll start with a married couple. Let's talk about them. All right? Let's get into that. We have Sharon and Ricky Goddard.
Yeah.
So Ricky Goddard, by the way, sounds like a race car driver.
He does.
If you heard Ricky Goddard won the Daytona 500 this year, you'd be like, "Oh man, yeah, that sounds right." That's just what you'd say. That sounds right. It just does. Who won Talladega? Ricky Goddard. Okay,
Eminem's car, right? I know him.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, that's what's he got? Like some Tide or some shit on there? Whisk? I don't know what the hell he's doing.
It's a Cascade car, right?
It's always some household product. It really is. So I'd like one car to be sponsored by Tricky Dick's dildos or something. Just a giant pink dildo with like a clit tickler on it and everything right on the hood of the car. Just
the Pornhub car.
Whole thing. That's just the Pornhub logo, though. I mean, what the hell's that? That's nothing.
Ujizz.com logo. That's
there you
good.
go. Ujizz is at least it says jizz. I mean Pornhub, whatever. But I want that sponsored by that and Tricky Dick's dildos. So those are his two sponsors. It's just a disgusting car. The interior is always sticky. No one knows why. So,
or it's slippery.
Slippery, either sticky, slippery, depends on what time of day it is.
And I want him using words like that when he wins. Today's track was slippery, but we got her in there.
It was a sticky, moist kind of track, if that makes sense to put those two things together. But it had a musky overtone to it
Running
whole day.
Friction all day.
Just burning rubber. Just burning rubbers, if you know what I mean. Just burning rubbers up, boy.
You got a real chap there at the end, but we really came through.
But you know what? In the end, we accomplished our goal.
We filled the gap and got inside her.
The whole team. Everybody, this is for all of us. We all did it together.
The whole team came together, if you know what I mean, there at the end.
That's right. You know how it works. So, Sharon and Ricky Goddard.
Yeah.
Shockingly, Ricky is not a race car driver.
No.
Whatever. They've been married about 10 years.
He had aspirations, James.
He did at one point. At some point, he had to. Just based on his name alone, he had to put a helmet on and be like, I'm meant for this. It's my destiny. He just grew out of it, maybe. So, they're both 32 years old in 1986. They've been married about 10 years. They have an 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
So, typical married.
You know that life.
You know the life. It's a grind, and they're doing it. And they do. They grind, too, because they work different shifts, which is never easy. Yeah. Ricky owns a glass company called Wholesale Glass with 3 other partners. So that's his day job. It's in Paw Paw. And then he's also, according to this newspaper, a popular local musician as well.
Right. Yeah.
So, Ricky Goddard he's going out on Friday night to do his bar gig, buddy, and he is popular.
Damn it.
Come on, Ricky. You know what I mean? There's Ricky, play Hold On Loosely again, Ricky. Come on. Come on, man. Play the Allman Brothers again.
Stop asking for that. I told you it's Run Around Sue again.
He's doing doo-wop. Yeah. I'm doing a 50s Dion block right now. I'm doing an Italian doo-wop block at the moment. So anyway, Ricky Goddard, he's going out. He's playing on the Friday night in the bars, and he's owning a glass business during the day. Sounds like
32 years old.
32 years old, 8-year-old kid, wife at home. Sounds decent. Sharon works for Kellogg's cereal.
Great.
As do the rest of the characters in the story. They all work at the Kellogg's factory.
Everybody making that Special K.
It's pretty awesome, honestly, because I don't know if everyone knows this or not, but I am I'm a cereal lunatic.
Ed. Yeah.
What do I have?
You know people that are into sneakers and shit like that. James is into cereal.
Cereal and sneakers are really my two vices, and that's kind of what it is. I like to get different sneakers, and I like cereal. And cereal's a great thing to be into because it's like $4 a box, number one,
right.
So you can
it's
actually acquire.
Hobby ever. Yeah,
you don't have to like lust over something. You can just go buy it. It's like, it's $4.69. It's not like
it's in an aisle at the grocery store. Easy peasy.
You don't have to like save up or go to an auction or anything. You just get it. It's easy. So I have like 30 boxes of cereal at once, and I eat them all too. That's the thing. I love cereal. So one thing I got to say about Kellogg's though.
Yeah.
And I like Kellogg's. I like your products a lot. There's a bunch of them that I really like. A ton of them. I mean, it's one of the biggies. Might be the top cereal brand of cereals I buy.
It might be, yeah.
I will say this: Raisin Bran, Kellogg's. You know what? I'm gonna be the first to say it. I understand it's been your ad campaign for my entire life, but in my opinion, 2 scoops, arguably too many raisins.
Is it?
It's too many. It's too fucking many. Because what happens is with a box of Raisin Bran.
Yeah,
and this is just going to happen. The flakes and the raisins are not the same weight.
No.
So in shipping, it's all going to go. Now, you can shake the box around, even though you're going to forget to, but you shake the box around, you can even it out. But over the course, once you open the bag, you can't shake the box anymore.
No, it's over.
That's it.
All
it's over.
shaking's done.
It's stuck. And every time you take it out and put it back, you're going to get your raisins settling.
Right.
So at the end, you're just going to have a bowl of raisins is basically what happens. It's just too many fucking raisins. I understand.
Even when you even it out, James, a bowl of Raisin Bran, once you put milk on it, the raisins go to the fucking bottom.
You have to find them.
6-10 bites are all raisins.
They're all raisins, and it's too many raisins. It's just too many. I get 2 scoops. It's a nice slogan. It's, it's the son holding a scoop of raisins in each hand. For some reason, he has arms. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? It doesn't work. 2 smaller scoops of raisins. How about that?
I'm shocked that you like that one anyway. That is maybe the shittiest breakfast cereal. I
don't know why I like cereal, dude. There's a ton I like.
What's the cereal with the raisins that are coated in like almonds and shit?
Fucking Raisin Nut Bran. It's amazing.
That shit is
so
rad.
Good. Raisin nuts, and they have slivers of almonds in them.
So good.
God, I love Raisin Nut Bran.
That one I can deal with.
Raisin Nut Bran. Those raisin nuts, put as many of those in as you want. Raisins coated in nuts. I don't care. Make half the fucking box of those. That's great. I'll deal with that.
Does Kellogg's make Basic 4 or is that General Mills?
I don't know who makes.
I think that might be General Mills.
4.
Either way. I love that one too, but again, with the fruity shit that's in it, your last 6 bites are cranberry pieces, dates, and almonds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, you know what else I'd like to request from them?
Yeah.
Okay, Kellogg's makes both Apple Jacks and Fruit Loops, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, number 1. Fluorescent blue Fruit Loop, not needed. We don't need that. What fucking fruit is that color? Every other color you have is an identifiable fruit color except for that. So now when I eat them, I have to pick them all out and put them in a separate bag because I feel weird wasting them. And at the end, I have a big Ziploc bag full of blue fucking Fruit Loops I don't want to eat. And I have to go, Sarah, do you want blue Fruit Loops? And she's like, not really. And then they end up getting thrown out. So thanks for that.
Supposedly blue raspberry because of that trend from
they just suck.
1998.
Fluorescent blue, nothing is that color. And on top of that, I don't need green Apple Jacks as well.
Does a blue raspberry even exist?
I don't fucking know. Maybe somewhere in nature on an island in some exotic place, but not in my kitchen. Right. So no, it doesn't exist. Outside of a slush puppy, it shouldn't exist.
I haven't seen that in the fucking grocery store.
No, fluorescent blue raspberries.
Yeah. Excuse me, produce director. Where are the blue raspberries, please? That's what I would like.
Oh, I know. They don't exist. Never mind.
Never heard of them? All right.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, Believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Speaking of too many raisins, she might agree with you. Because she has to lift these raisins. She operates a forklift, Sharon does. Yeah. Forklift operator, graveyard shift.
My God.
6 months pregnant.
Oh, dear Christ.
So put those stats all in a row.
Women can't be president, James.
Forklift, graveyard, 6 months. Add that all together and you get...
I can't do that job now as a 40-year-old fit man.
That equals you get home at 6 a.m. and you are not a happy person, probably.
8 hours ago, she wasn't a happy person.
Yeah. And he's still up from the gig the night before telling you about it. Oh, it was magic. Crowd was great. So
I had 12 beers. I was in my happy place. You're not going to believe it.
No, it's not all.
They just kept screaming more, and we just kept playing. It was amazing. How was your night, baby?
We just got done. It was wild. Not a woman with nary a bra in the building by the time we were done playing. All up on the stage, boy. It was wonderful.
How's your night?
You? Well, the honey smacks got caught in the fucking forklift thing, and I couldn't. When I picked up the pallet, it just tipped over.
My pregnant brain, because I'm so sleepy already, I turned right when I should have turned left. Yeah. Hit a whole fucking a whole row of other cereal. It's all on the floor now. I just dropped the keys and I walked out.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't pick up the pallet of Frosted Flakes, and normally they're great, but tonight they just were a sumbitch and they wouldn't get on the goddamn forklift. So I said, "Fuck you, Tony," and I'm out of here. So.
It's still running.
It's still running, and they're still half on. So, shockingly, the marriage isn't going great.
Yeah.
And it's not for these reasons. These reasons are kind of we'll put it this way. You can't tell what came first, the chicken or the egg, and the why they're miserable thing here. One reason maybe is that Goddard here, Sharon Goddard, admitted to everybody, including her husband, that she had an affair with a guy at work.
Uh-oh.
Like just recently. We're in like January 86. This was like the end of 85. They had an affair. Okay. The husband knew of it, but didn't know who it was. It's somebody that she works with from Kellogg's.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was, the Honey Smack Frog or what, but somebody there had a problem. She said that she also says, though, tells people that her husband also had an affair, but she didn't know who he had an affair with either. So,
wow.
They're just drifting apart. And the problem is, too, is they don't see each other at all. They work separate shifts, and they don't see each other.
High-five in the hallway as one goes to bed and the other goes to work.
That's the thing. It's not not really a decent marriage. I guess her affair ended in the fall of 85, or the end of 85, like early December. She says that her and this guy, though, exchanged Christmas gifts this year, but we don't know if that's true, as we'll find out later. She also said that she told one of her friends the baby she's carrying couldn't be this guy at work's because he had a vasectomy 5 years beforehand. So it can't be his. So I don't know if she doesn't know whose it is or what, but there's issue as to who's the father of this baby. She said of this guy at work afterwards that we were friends more than anything else, always, she said. Except for when we were fucking, and then it was a different story. But we were friends, outside of that.
All right.
I don't know why that just sounds better coming out of a woman's. Imagine if a guy said that. He'd be like, we were friends mostly. We'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Friends
You've been
mostly.
Trying to fuck her since you met her, you idiot.
When my dick wasn't in her, we were very good friends. And then luckily she would let me be inside of her once in a while. And then we were less friendly, but somehow more friendly at the same time. So she even had opened up her own checking account because her husband, they had like a kind of an anticipation of a divorce coming up almost. Like someday you're going to need to know how to do this type of thing. Like he was preparing her.
Change a tire or something?
Yeah, for like an inevitable, she's going to college or something. And he's going
So right here you write the dollar amount. Then down here in all words you got to write it out.
Write it out. Let me show you how to hold your keys in a parking lot in case anybody comes up behind you. So he tells her that, he wanted her to learn how to manage her finances. They used to argue about money, and they're also that their work schedules kept them apart all the time. So that was their main source of contention is we don't see each other ever, and, we need money. So that's every couple argues about money because, everybody could use more money. It's there's very few people, it's a very small percentage of people sitting around going, you know what, I wouldn't even take a raise if it was offered to me. I'm just feeling great right now.
Thank you, boss, but no thank you.
I have everything I need, as a matter of fact. I'm pretty good. Everybody wants more money. And if someone works, it's not even like first and second shift. It's not even like, she gets home at midnight. Or if they work graveyard to day shift, those are complete, literally he's getting up when she's getting home. That's not going to work out well at all because then she's going to be sleeping in the evening, and so it's not going to work, for anybody. Yeah. So I guess they had discussed divorce about a year earlier in early 1985, and Sharon said that they'd been arguing a lot, and it seemed like their differences were never going to be worked out, basically. Okay. Seems like if they both had a job on the same shift, that would probably...
That'll start fixing things.
Well, at least give you a chance.
We both have jobs on the same shift that pay a little more than we make right now. Then all of our problems are fixed.
Everybody would like that. But I don't know if that was the problem or if they would have had spent more time together, they would have been divorced sooner, though. You never know. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Some people, time apart's the only thing that keeps them together.
Right.
It's a totally common thing that pro athletes, they'll be married for 14 years, their career's over, and within 6 months they're divorced because they go home. The wife's like, hey, you're not usually here. You're really annoying. And then he's like, I thought I liked you more. And then they're just like, The two of them don't like each
Didn't
other.
Nelson Mandela do that too?
I got out of prison and was like, I'm free. No, I'm not. I thought I was free, and then I fucking had to argue with you all the time. As a matter, you know what?
Home to this shit.
Yeah, I gotta come home for this. Pull a Henry Hill on it. So, they were arguing a lot, and she said right around the time they were discussing divorce is when she met the young man at work named Richard Eckstein, who she gets involved with. So Richard Eckstein. So Dickie X over here.
Yeah. She likes Ricky's.
Ricky, yeah, because I mean they're both Richards. I
usually
guess.
Go by Ricky.
Well, he was Richard. Her husband's Richard too. So they're both, I guess, Richard. He goes by Ricky though. So, or maybe they named him Ricky. I don't fucking know. So anyway,
maybe she started calling him Ricky because to tell her and her husband and her fling apart.
Possibly.
I need to start calling you Ricky now. Why? I can't tell you. I
can't tell you. It's just trust me. It's better. It's going to be better for everybody. Now he's 29 years old, so he's 3 years younger than them. He also works for Kellogg. Yeah. And he works for Kellogg's, and he's some sort of supervisor in the warehouse or something.
Oh, God.
So that's who she's hooking up with here. It ended, like I said, in January. I guess a friend of Eckstein's said that that Eckstein told him that it ended in early January, where she said it ended in like late November, early December. Okay. So that's the only thing. His friend here, Robert Graves, who rents the apartment to him and has known him for a long time, he said he noticed about 10 days after Christmas of '85 that the gifts that Eckstein had in his apartment under his tree intended for Sharon were still there, all wrapped and sitting under the tree. So there's still presents under the tree 10 days after Christmas. That's an issue. So that's why she said they exchanged Christmas gifts that year, even though they had broken up. And it's like, well, why did you have Christmas gifts 10 days later then? So I don't know why that doesn't line up. When Graves asked Eckstein about the gifts, I guess Eckstein told him that Sharon had ended their relationship already, and that's why he hadn't given them to her. He said that she told him that she was pregnant and she intended to divorce her husband, and that she wanted to divorce her husband, and she's pregnant, and I guess she's building a new house, so she doesn't want to be involved with him. That was what she said. So, I mean, not enough time. I got a lot of things going on. I got a divorce.
Yeah. Things are happening real fast.
I'm all knocked up. May or may not be yours. And I also got to meet with the contractors. So no time for this.
I'm balancing timetables with permits. So I got
hey, you got to be out of here. So that's what Graves said. Now a different person here, Kim Peace, who was 15 years old at the time. She was a babysitter and at one point lived with Sharon and Ricky. Okay. I don't know if she's like a family. She's 15, so I mean, I don't know if she's like had like trouble at home or something, and they were like, "Well, you can stay with us and like babysit." I don't know what the deal was, but either way, they took in a teenage girl at one point. Here, I guess that's a nice thing to do. So, at one point, this kid asked Sharon, or Sharon told this kid she was pregnant, and so this kid Kim asked Sharon who the father was, and
what.
Who's the father? Because she knows.
Why does a 15-year-old know that that's a question to be asked?
That's
really?
What I'm
Who's
saying.
The dad? I'm married, asshole. So who do you think it is?
That's how open this affair is, though. It's even the 15-year-old live-in babysitter's like, oh, is that guy you're banging, or the other one?
That is fascinating.
But I guess at this point, Sharon told the babysitter that it was Eckstein's baby.
Oh,
not Ricky's baby. She said it's Richard Eckstein's baby. So, yeah. But also, the landlord there, Eckstein's friend Graves, said that Eckstein told him that he'd undergone a vasectomy about 5 years beforehand. So,
yeah, but that's a 1980s vasectomy.
Yeah, who knows how well
who knows
that
if
stuff.
that shit even worked.
A couple could get through. So Eckstein.
The vasectomy in the 1980s, they trimmed your hair and trimmed your toenails and then told you to shave. And we're like, now you don't have any testosterone in there because we cut all the proteins out of your hairs, proteins out of your nails, and also we're going to kick you in the balls.
By the way, don't eat any chicken.
Right.
Whatever the fuck. So Eckstein tells everybody, he admits that he did have an affair with Sharon and all that sort of thing, but he was also in a bunch of other relationships at the same time. Eckstein. So this wasn't even his whole night. You know what I mean?
Sounds like he got a vasectomy just to go out and fuck his brains out.
Well, he got a vasectomy at like 24. That's that's very young to get a vasectomy. Like most doctors won't even do a vasectomy that young unless you already have 4 kids and you're 24. Right. You know what I mean? They won't.
World.
Strange. It's very strange. So let's enter another character here into this mix, and that is a man named Norman Woodmansey, which, does that name sound familiar?
It does.
Because we had a Woodmansey before, Michael Woodmansey. This is our second Woodmansey in a story. Michael Woodmansey was the young man, I believe it was Rhode Island, where his dad was a cop and he killed that kid and he kept the kid's skull in a box on his dresser for years and all that shit while the whole town searched for him. They never searched the cop's house, and that's where the body was. That was a Woodmansey. That dude was disturbed as fuck, by the way. Go back and listen to that episode because that was crazy. So anyway, this guy, Woodmansey's 47, so he's about 15 years older than Sharon and Ricky, and even older than that, more than that, of Eckstein. Now, I did a little, from what I could find on his background, his family at one point in the 60s had a sawmill in Hastings, which, remember, we found in the town report, there's a lot of sawmills there. Right. It was called Woodmansey Brothers Sawmill. So at one point he worked there in like the 60s. I also found, to give you an idea of how smooth this guy is, in 1957, a newspaper report of cars driven, this is the story, quote, cars driven by 3 different Woodmanseys were involved in an accident, one with each other. His whole family, 7 people were hospitalized.
Holy shit.
In a 3-car, all-family battle royale. The sheriff said that Gerald Woodmansey, who was 18, he had passed a pickup truck driven by his cousin, Norman Woodmansey. So they passed each other. They're the same age. And started to pass another car when he failed to see a 4th vehicle approaching from the west and hit it nearly head on. The oncoming car was driven by James Woodmansey.
Brother.
16 years old, Norman's little brother.
God damn it.
He got in a head-on collision with his own little brother. That's fucking... Oh, no, I'm sorry. The other guy, Richard.
The guy
Gerald.
Little brother.
Yeah, Gerald got into one with Norman's brother. So he's like, hi, and then he's like, I'm going to kill your brother now, and run into him. So this is fucking ridiculous. Norman pulled to the right side of the road to avoid the 2 cars already taking up the center highway, hit an embankment, and his pickup truck flipped over.
What a bad day to be a Woodmansey.
Jesus Christ, man. This is fucking hilarious. Let's see. Gerald.
How did they all wind up within feet of each other?
Hitting each other with cars.
That is unbelievable.
Have you ever imagine getting in a 3-car pileup, all members of your family, not even on purpose, you weren't fighting, you just happened to see each other.
We just all wound up on the same road at the same time.
It's unbelievable. So 7 people ended up in the hospital because of this
shit.
Which is wild. Norman was ended up being fine. He was like the least injured of everybody, somehow, Norman. Now, like we said, they work at Kellogg's, and so does Norman. Norman works under Richard Eckstein. Okay. So he's his, Eckstein's his supervisor, yeah. They all worked there. Now, Sharon described Norman Woodmansey as a fellow employee, someone you say hi to. And, that's kind of it. He worked in the machine shop under Eckstein. And, and apparently Eckstein would hang out with a lot of the people he worked with. and worked like his subordinates. He'd hang out with them. They'd all go to the bar, after their shift or whatever. Yeah, and but apparently Woodman Z wasn't really part of that. He didn't really hang out with him. I don't know if that's because he's 15 years older than him, too, which is, if it's a bunch of guys who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and this guy's 47, doesn't really fit in with the crowd,
Weird,
so maybe that's what it is.
Also,
Woodman
Z's busy beating the shit out of his family, weirdly.
He's out looking for revenge on the streets right now. He's just driving a pickup truck, looking for a cousin to hit head on with it. So, I guess they didn't socialize outside the office is basically that. One of the coworkers said, quote, Richard didn't seem to have a personal friendship with Norman. So, that's how this is all set up. Okay. Then January 25th, 1986 comes around. And this is the Goddards live at 9865 Gurd Road. Gurd. G-R-U.
Disease, isn't it?
G-U-R-D. GERD. It sounds like it. If it's not, it should be.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure that's a disease where, it's something to do with, your lungs or something.
You can gird your loins.
You can do that, too.
So, either way, they're on GERD here. Now, Sharon comes home from her 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift that day. Gets home. She's 6 months pregnant at this point in time.
Yikes.
She's got a yellow 80s maternity outfit, like a yellow jumper thing and a white blouse on.
Yeah.
Basically, just wrap me in cloth. I'm pregnant was the 80s.
Put me in cotton, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Make it, I don't care, 3, 4, 5 sizes too big. I'll fucking grow into it. And if not, whatever. That was the 80s maternity style. Now they have real clothes that pregnant women could wear. Right. But back then it was I don't know, put this fucking sack on you.
Hide that shit, you pig.
There you go. No one wants to look at that. That's right. What it was. There you go.
Now they cut extra cloth for all the areas that expand. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, now they have things that where they cut out the belly part and they can stick it out and look at my stomach. So it's just a different vibe. I don't give a shit either way.
With some sort of clever text on it.
Yeah, something. Here's my, whatever the fuck.
Future. All I wanted was a back rub or something.
Future coffee partner or some bullshit like that. So
get out of me so that I can have coffee.
No shit. So the front door this morning is open when she gets home. She says all the way wide open. The storm door, the screen door with the windows in it. So storm door is wide open and all the lights in the double wide are on.
Really?
So they live in a double wide mobile home and all the lights are on in the trailer. So she says in her recollection, quote, I went inside and called my husband's name. I called twice. It was so still in there. There was no answer. She said then, as she walked in, she looked around, and when your eyes adjust to, morning light, if it's bright outside, your eyes adjusting to the trailer, even though there's lights on in there, it's a different light. She said then she started to notice that there was a lot of blood on the walls.
Oh, boy.
Started to see on the walls, spattered on the walls, which is a bad sign usually. Yep. That's most accidents don't leave a lot of noticeable spatter.
It's not a nosebleed.
Exactly. As he didn't cut himself while he was slicing tomatoes or anything.
or Nick shaving. Nothing.
I was cutting up my jeans for Friday night's gig, right? I was making, I want to get some fray dangling, you know what I mean? And boy, I get my finger.
Lopped off my pinky.
She said at that point, she looked down and saw her husband's body on the living room floor, kind of right between the living room and the kitchen. She saw Ricky down there, and there was a lot of blood. She says, quote, I froze and I screamed. I couldn't touch him. There was blood all over. I remember his face. He was staring.
Yikes.
That's a dead body.
Open. Shit.
And when we find out later on, basically what happened to him, it would have looked really rough and you wouldn't want to touch it. He got shot close range with a shotgun to the back of the head.
My God.
So, there's not going to be...
No.
There's not going to be 100% of that head remaining at that point. So that's not something you'd want to touch, probably. I can understand that.
No.
So she said she went to the bedroom after that to call the operator and ask for the sheriff's department and, somebody please come out here. And I guess Detective Ken DeMott of the Berry County Sheriff's Department, he said he arrived at the home, pretty much immediately. It's, first, not a lot of murders going on in this area of the country at 6:30 in the morning. So if somebody calls one in, you'll jump right on it. Not a big backlog. So
funnily enough, I'm not busy right now.
He's like, I've been waiting for this. Great. Put down his bagel and he ran. He said, and also he said when he got there that Ricky was lying face down in the kitchen with a massive wound to the head. Yeah. So she would have saw the massive wound.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like he was laying on the wound or something like that. Now, the detective said he found no sign of forced entry at all here. So he asked Sharon, is there anything missing? Anything I should be looking for here? Do you see anything obviously missing, or what valuables do you have that I should be looking for around the house? And she said to look for Ricky's wallet, check for a jewelry box. There's a mink coat in the house.
What?
A mink coat apparently. It's a mink coat. You ever hear of putting lipstick on a pig?
Yeah.
I think that's an alternate
there
for putting mink coat on a trailer, I think is what that is.
Wow.
If you have a mink coat, that's worth months of rent in a house.
Right.
Is what I'm getting at.
Those are like $12,000.
Yeah, your priorities are fucked basically at that point. And I'm not saying I hate when people are like people saying they're broke while they got a phone and a TV. It's like, oh yeah, they got food, They're eating and then complaining they don't have enough money. It's like, yeah, they could be. TVs are pretty cheap and stuff like that. None of those
saying
things.
They broke and they drove here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like they got like a car and they drove. I saw them leave a McDonald's like eating food, like none of those things add up to the cost of a mink coat. A mink coat is very expensive. It is what we're saying. So that's a lot. That's an extravagant purchase that once you have everything else in life, you're like, you know what else I need? A ridiculously expensive coat. I have all the houses and cars I could possibly want. Just trust funds are loaded up for the kids.
You own something like that, and you leave the house and you feel like $1 million, and then you walk back through that door wearing that jacket.
Yeah.
That's really got to settle you right down.
That's what I mean. I've never, ever been in a position in my life where I'm like, I think it's mink coat time. I've never been there. I'm not even close to there. I'm nowhere near mink coat time in my life, in my financial life.
I really hope mink coat time comes.
I'd love to at some point be in the market for a mink coat, but it's not on the horizon anytime soon. No, we don't know, too. She could have inherited this coat. Yeah. They could have, her grandmother could have done. We have no idea what's going on here. We're just
her grandma may have been in mink coat time, and she bequeathed it.
That's what I'm saying. We have no clue what happened here, but it's funny to...
It's funny to say there's a mink coat in a holiday rambler.
Yeah, that's how it works. And she said also check for a checkbook and a diamond ring as well. Okay. So these are the main valuables in the house. Now they found the checkbook and they found the diamond ring. What they didn't find were the wallet that's missing, and the jewelry box is gone too.
Mink coat?
Jewelry box is gone. Mink coat is there. Okay. Mink coat there. Only thing, jewelry box and wallet are the only things gone. Okay. Everything else is there, including a payroll check and a bank bag containing $101, like one of those zip-up bank bags. And a television is in the house, a stereo, a VCR, which in the 80s, that was the height of technology. If you had...
you could sell a mink coat.
Yeah, you could sell a VCR on the street for crack for $100 in the 80s. That's how much VCRs were worth. They were gold. You'd rather have a VCR than its weight in gold in the 80s. It was worth that much. So also a vase that contained cash, like like people I guess throw their change. I guess they threw singles and fives or something in there to save up. I don't know what the hell they're doing. So
they're doing great.
That's all sitting there around the house. So it doesn't seem like if it's a robbery, it's a pretty shittily done one. They got a wallet and a jewelry box and left a lot of other valuables around, and it doesn't seem like they really looked for them, which after you've shot a shotgun, though, you probably want to get the fuck out of Dodge pretty fast. I would assume a shotgun inside a trailer is going to be loud.
Oh, boy.
Like, it's going to reverberate outside because it's not the same insulation as a house.
There might be a window or some paneling falling off the outside. That's a lot of pressure coming out, man.
it's going to fall off its wheels, man. It's a lot. That's what I mean. It's a lot of pressure. So, anyway, he said that a few days later, the detective said that Sharon phoned him to ask him if a wedding band and a gold necklace had been found on Ricky's body as well. And the detective said that he did not have that on him when he died, when they took him in. So he said that the detective said first thought for it was it's a robbery. Didn't go the way that they wanted it to go. They shot him, grabbed what the fuck they could, which was his jewelry, his jewelry on him, his necklace, his wedding ring, his wallet out of his pocket. You see a jewelry box sitting on something. You see the box, you just grab it quick and run. But didn't have time to really search the place. So that's how the detectives are thinking it went down at this moment in time.
Okay.
So the medical examiner said Ricky died pretty much instantly, they said, from this. It was a shotgun blast fired from about 5 feet away from his left side into the back of his head.
Oh, dear Christ.
So that's the spot to do it, I guess, if you want to.
My word.
If you were going to fletch the situation and hire somebody to do that to you, if you wanted to take yourself out, I guess that's the spot to do it. So the doctor at the Blodgett Memorial Hospital in Grand Rapids, he performed the autopsy and said that the position of the blood spots in the house indicate that someone moved the body prior to police arriving at the scene.
Oh.
That is not the original location of the body, is what the police say. So that's something to consider, because why the fuck would you move a body to that spot?
Right.
If you're robbing the place, wouldn't you just shoot, grab what you can, and get the hell out? I don't know why you'd bother moving. And he was killed pretty much instantly, they said. So it wasn't like he was shot and then crawled 6 feet and died. He was dead before he hit the ground.
Right.
So, how does he move, basically? So, anyway, Sharon also said that once Eckstein heard what happened, he called her to console her about her husband's death. So nice. Very nice of him. Very nice of him. Now, doesn't seem like a lot of evidence here. And but the police are finding certain things, and we'll talk about all that, because on February 18th, 1986, less than a month later, by the way, the same time pretty much that Norman Woodmansey quits the Kellogg Company. He quits Kellogg's, and pretty much right then, he is charged by the police with murder of Ricky Goddard and conspiracy to commit murder as well. Okay?
Who did he conspire with?
That's the thing. Now, his attorney says that he doesn't understand the conspiracy charges because no one else has been charged. So he said they'll probably drop the conspiracy charges against my client because they haven't named any conspirators. So how is that a fucking thing? The judge said, though, that there was probable cause to bind Norman over on the murder and conspiracy charges. The judge said that the evidence presented showed that Woodmansey was hired to do the killing, which implied the complicity of someone else and therefore a conspiracy. Okay. So, he didn't know this guy and had no reason to kill him. So, you know what I mean? That's basically what the judge said. It looks like there's a conspiracy of some kind, or there's at least enough evidence of that. Now, but Woodmansey's attorney said that he thinks the conspiracy charge is a ploy on the prosecutor's part, quote, hoping Norman will roll over on the other two, is what he says.
Other two?
As the other two. Now there's two people involved in this, according to this attorney. So clearly he knows more than we do, this attorney. The attorney also says that he believes that it will be, the conspiracy charge will not be maintained. Quote, how could a man conspire with himself, is what he said. Which really is a great quote that doesn't really have an answer. He says that he would not now say that, he doesn't know what he's going to do because he has to see what the charges do. He said, though, I can't imagine them charging him with unindicted co-conspirators. That would be fucking crazy. He insists that Woodmansey is innocent of the murder and believes that other evidence found at the scene of the crime bears that out. And we'll talk about all this shit here. Now, what ends up happening, though, is the next day they charge Sharon Goddard and Richard Eckstein with murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's how this is unfolding. So they're arrested. They're charged with murder and conspiracy. Sharon's attorney said that that the missing $200 from the wallet, a jewelry box, and a gold necklace worth $600, that's the motive. There's robbery. Why would she? Okay. Yeah, like she said, they're like, clearly it's a robbery, and they're charging the man's wife. This is crazy. Now, the friend of Eckstein's, Robert Graves, the landlord there, he said that that Eckstein and two other men went snowmobiling on January 24th for the whole weekend. So Eckstein wasn't even around. Eckstein was off snowmobiling on the night of the 24th and the morning of the 25th. So
it's a great alibi.
He couldn't have shot anybody. Mm-hmm. And another witness from Kellogg's, an employee named Irene Cook, she says that she saw Sharon Goddard make a phone call from a payphone at the Kellogg plant there at about 1 or 2 a.m. the morning of the 25th, and when she got off the phone, appeared to be crying.
Oh.
So, yeah, why would she make a payphone call and cry? And then when she was asked about that, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about that. So it's not like, oh, my sister called and, she just lost the baby or something. Like, none of that happened. It was, something else.
And Sharon is 6 months pregnant. Those 6 months pregos tend to cry a lot.
6 months pregnant, and you're going back to work at 2 a.m. to get back on the forklift. Maybe it's just that. You're right. It
she
could
has
just
some
be
shit to cry about.
She's like, listen. You're like, why are you crying? She's like, look, I cry a lot. You understand?
Which time?
Which fucking time? My husband won't stop playing the Allman Brothers. I got a lot to cry about, all right?
Surprised I'm not crying right now.
Any second it could happen, really. I don't need much. So they believe, the police's theory here is that Norman Woodmansey discussed the killing directly with Richard Eckstein, but they didn't know if Woodmansey discussed it directly with Sharon Goddard. Okay. So they were trying to figure that out. But either way, if it was through Eckstein, they assume Goddard was involved.
Right.
They assume Eckstein didn't take it upon himself to just do this. So they said that they're saying, though, at this point, they don't know if they need somebody to flip on somebody because they don't really have a lot of evidence. Now, what they did find, they found a cigarette butt and a crumpled cigarette pack on the floor of the trailer of the Goddard residence, right near the body of Ricky.
Why do they always leave their cigarettes?
I never understand that. I don't. You know how many times in murder cases cigarettes have been a fucking key identifier? They always
show up.
Even if it's just to eliminate people, or that's his brand, so now he's in the like things like that. It comes up so much. Just stop. Don't smoke while you're murdering people. I get that it's a stressful time and you want to light up. Wait till you're done.
Cigarette.
Yeah, pretend you're in a restaurant. You know what I mean? Yeah, you want to smoke before the dessert and after the meal, but you know what? You're going to wait till after the meal and you're going to go outside and smoke on the way to your car. Do it that way. Fucking lazy bastards. They got to smoke there. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. Yeah. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So they were found there. The problem is that neither Norman Woodmansey, Ricky Goddard, nor Sharon Goddard smoke cigarettes. None of them do. So that's an issue. Someone there was smoking a cigarette.
Right.
Obviously, there's a fucking cigarette put out. So it's not even just like a pack was stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoe or something. There was a fresh butt put out and a fucking pack of cigarettes. So now a blood analysis, the Woodmansey is talking about getting a saliva analysis on the cigarette butt. This is pre-available DNA, though.
Yeah.
DNA at this point was really in its infancy. They did the sequencing, but they could narrow it down to a certain amount of people, but it wasn't like it's definitely you. Or, we looked at it and your cousin did it. Sorry, we figured it out. Yeah. They can just run it through a machine and be like, you have a cousin named Steve? Well, he did it. So we ran it through. Steve did it, definitely. Whereas they don't have that then.
We ran it through, and we see that the person has hazel eyes, and his name is Steve.
So, do you know anybody that says he's pretty handsome? So, you know anybody like that? Good with the ladies,
We
probably?
ran it through, and here's his social security number.
So, it drives a 2006 Kia, right? Yes. So, they said...
It's so fucking amazing. It really blows your mind how specific it is.
But back then, even to test that would destroy the sample, and then you wouldn't get anything anyway. So a lot of times they would hold on to evidence like this and not test it, even though that might mean more likely of a conviction now, just because they're waiting for the technology to develop, hopefully, and maybe in 5 years you can use it for an appeal.
Right.
That's something in the beginning of DNA that defense attorneys really had to think about. Like, if they destroy this and it's inconclusive, I'm fucked. I have no other. Then we got nothing. So, they said that he said that lawyer that the results may be inconclusive, and there's that. And he also said, quote, only a portion of the population secrete blood cells into their saliva, because they're not looking at DNA sequencing off saliva back then in '86. They're looking at blood typing. They're looking at it back in the day, like when they'd find semen somewhere and they'd be like, he's a secretor. He's a type A secretor. So,
I wish that wasn't what they called that, by the way.
Isn't that gross?
It sounds so disgusting.
And it means that you essentially have blood in your jizz, which is also gross. It's not blood, but it's your blood type will get into there. So it's
disgusting.
You'd think like, that the explanation of it can't be as bad as the word sounds. And you're like, no, it's kind of worse. That's kind of worse.
Makes it sound like your cock is always dripping. But what it is that your cock is always dripping with your bloody jizz.
With your bloody jizz. So, you feel better now? Hope you feel better. Now, another thing that they found here is that they could not, the police say, that their crime lab says they can't be certain that tire tracks outside the Goddard home from the morning of the killing. So they found there was tire tracks there, fresh tracks. They can't match them to Woodmansey's car at all. They don't match Woodmansey's car. So another thing is they find no fingerprints in the home that belong to him as well. Which,
their case is garbage.
You can wear gloves, but still they have more negative evidence than positive evidence. Right. They have more evidence of his innocence than guilt at this point.
Right.
Their only evidence of guilt is people talking, whereas they have nobody smoking and there's cigarettes there,
this
car
is
tire
ballsy
tracks
going forward. Right.
It's pretty ballsy. and they weren't sure that the shotgun shells. The lab wasn't sure because shotguns are hard to do ballistics on. That's why people like using them.
That's why you use them, right?
Omar on the Wire. That was his thing. He'd make his own
pumpkin balls.
There
you go.
So they weren't sure, based on the science, that the shotgun shells found in Woodmansey's home matched the shell fragments found at the murder scene.
Okay.
So they have essentially zero physical evidence against him whatsoever. If anything, they have exculpatory physical evidence on him. That's what they have. They have chatter and a bunch of shit that literally excludes him. So it's not too great at this point. So they look into it a little more, and apparently they find a couple life insurance policies for Ricky Goddard at this point. They find one, conveniently, that was upgraded from $50,000 to $100,000 on December 15th, only about 40 days before the murder.
Convenient as fuck.
That's really interesting. And the beneficiaries apparently were Sharon and her daughter there. So they also found the insurance company. They say they were asking about, it was a weird thing. They were talking about whether, if she did that, would it have been better for her to do this mortgage thing? Would that have been show that she was more guilty? I don't know what the hell it was. So anyway, they said that she filed a $100,000 insurance policy, and then she filed to claim it on February 18th.
Oh,
so she put in to get it, and then she became upset when her husband's business partner challenged her assertion that she had a right to 25% of interest in the firm. So she was trying to claim all of her husband's shit in February, trying to say, I want the life insurance, and I get 25. I get my husband's share of the business because he owned 25%. And the partners are saying, you don't get that. That's not in the deal, which that depends on the contract he signed with them when they all went into business.
Right.
Some contracts say your shares go to whoever you want them to. Some contracts say if you die, your shares go back with the partners. That's a thing that happens. It's a terrible contract to sign, but
it's a bad one.
You should probably never do that if you'd like to protect your family, but it's a thing that happens. So they also said that Sharon had arranged for premiums to be paid from her personal bank account and at the time, and she said that she didn't recall the amount of the insurance when asked by investigators. She said, quote, I thought it was $75,000 for both of us, but it turned out it wasn't that at all. She said they discussed increasing coverage because he was starting a new business and they were building a new home. So they were going to increase coverage because they had a lot more liabilities. And so they said that's the only reason why she did it. So it wasn't just bad timing, nothing suspicious.
Nothing to do with the planning of a murder.
No. But what they do find is, and the police and investigators and prosecutors make a flow chart of phone calls between Richard Eckstein, Sharon Goddard, and basically between them and between the Goddards and a Kellogg Company phone and calls from Kellogg Company to Woodmansey's home charged to Eckstein. So they find all sorts of shit. Yeah, them, Goddard and Eckstein talking back from their houses, them talking, going from the Kellogg Company to Goddard's house, from Goddard's house to the Kellogg Company, and then from the Kellogg Company to Woodmansey's house, too, all the time. And that's on Eckstein's phone. Okay. And they don't hang out socially.
Right.
So he didn't call him up on his night off and be like, hey, how was the bass fishing over the weekend? Like, that's not what's going on.
Putting together a softball team for that tourney down there at the festival.
Really need the big guy at first base. You know how it works.
6 months away. I need to get a bug in your ear now.
Start getting in shape, pal. Start doing your stretching. So anyway, that's what they have right now. They have phone calls from Eckstein to him. They have kind of this weird, very loosely put together web. I don't think a spider could hold in this web right now. I think it would break and they'd fall. So they also have a witness that they say. They say that there's a witness that contacted police after the killings, and that person said that one of the three suspects told this witness about plans to kill Ricky the year before, the previous summer. So, Yes, one of these three there. She said this person said they didn't take the information seriously until after they found out that Ricky was dead.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, wow. So there's that. And we'll reveal who that is in a few minutes here. So March 11th, 1986. Okay, now, some charges are going to be dismissed. I'm going to let you guess what charges against who are going to be dismissed.
Conspiracy against Woodman Z. Woodson?
Woodman Z.
Yeah.
Okay, you think that one? The conspiracy against him? Okay. We're talking all three people here. Any of these charges for everybody. Well,
conspiracy is the only thing that's got to stand. Are they taking away murder from everybody?
Well, what they do is they drop the murder charges against Sharon and Eckstein.
Oh, no.
But hold the conspiracy charges for now. Which makes no sense, because if you think they did one, then they're guilty of the other. So that would be...
Well...
That's like saying, I'm charging you for drunk driving, but not for plowing into the school bus with your car when you were drunk driving.
Yeah.
One holds hands with the other. You know what I mean? You can't have one without the other. So
I guess you can conspire to murder and not do it.
But if you conspire to murder, you're also guilty of murder.
Right.
That's how it works.
That's a good point.
That's what conspiracy is.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the conspiracy.
You're fucked,
but I guess if you conspire to murder and then there's no body, but this way there's a body. I don't know.
There's a body. It makes no sense. That's what I mean. It makes no mathematical or legal sense that I can assume here. Woodman Z, all charges remain against him.
Hanging on to him.
Hanging on. No physical evidence.
Not a thing.
No, nothing. They have a couple of witnesses we'll talk about.
This is brave.
This is a really cavalier prosecution here. So they end up doing that. The court upheld the dismissal, saying that the judge found probable cause that Woodman Z conspired to kill Goddard and then committed the act. So let's bring in a couple of guys on the side here.
Yeah.
One is Robert Hyslop, 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 and the other one is George Zugel, Zugel, Hyslop and Zugel. Wow. That sounds like the worst restaurant in town. Going to Hyslop and Zugel's. Ugh. Gross. They just fart on your plate and walk away. That's the only thing they serve there.
Yeah, can I get 2 air biscuits and a Coke, please?
I'd like the combination blowhorn platter, please. Can you really? Just come over. How do you like that? Good? All right, then. They walk away.
How do you prepare those air biscuits? They're in the air fryer. Come on down.
I prepare them in my ass. What do you think I prepare them? So, oh, my God. Now, Hyslop is going to tell authorities that Zugel, Jesus, these names, borrowed a gun from Hyslop on the day of the murder.
What kind of gun?
Ricky's murder. Now, Zugel had told Hyslop that he needed the gun to, quote, collect some money for cocaine.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Now, when Hyslop picked up the gun 2 days later at Zugel's apartment, he asked Zugel why it had been fired. As you can tell when a gun's been fired. He said, hey, why'd you fire the gun? And so Zugel said, quote, here, get rid of this. You don't want it.
Okay.
Hyslop said, I asked why, and he said, quote, you don't want to know. Which is, if it's my gun, I kind of do.
You used my gun to murder somebody, sir?
I kind of want to know that. Yeah. How much? Yeah, you don't want to know. Did you shoot the stop sign at the end of Main Street, or did you murder a human being? Which thing did you do? This is important to tell me. So Hyslop said later on he ended up throwing the gun into the Kalamazoo River at the park. Okay. That was his way of getting rid of it. So he said later on, Hyslop said, after learning about the arrests of Norman and Sharon Goddard and Eckstein, he asked Zugel if Woodman Z had done the killing. He go, hey, did Norman do this? Yeah. And Hyslop said that Zugel told him that Eckstein and Sharon Goddard hired Woodman Z to kill Ricky, and that he and Woodman Z were going to split $5,000. That was the deal. So Zugel said, look, yeah, he did it, and me and Woodman Z are splitting the $5,000.
So Woodman Z had to... They approached him to murder, and he said, I'll do it. I gotta get a gun. What?
Yeah, why would you gotta get a gun? So then he goes to another guy who gets him the gun.
Yeah.
And apparently is going
to goes to another guy who goes to another guy, James.
Yeah. But I don't know where Woodman Z comes. I don't know where he comes into this because, again, you have Sharon Goddard and Ricky Eckstein who seem to have a motive, especially Sharon because there's money involved and all that sort of thing. And then you have Zugel, who has possession of this shotgun, picked it up and dropped it off, fired when he dropped it off already, and said, "You quote, you don't want to know what happened to it. Get rid of it." And somehow the only person charged with murder is Norman Woodmansey, which I'm like, how the fuck is he the guy charged with murder out of all this?
Right.
This makes zero sense. There's the least amount of evidence against him
to murder somebody, and he asked a guy if he could borrow a gun from him, and that guy said, "I can't, but I can borrow one from somebody else."
Yeah.
They had to borrow it from 3 different people.
And then the only person putting Woodman Z in this at this point in time is the guy who had the fucking gun and said that he fired. So, I mean, he would be the guy that you want to look at, not the guy that he said to look at. You're the guy with the gun. I'm going to look at you first. So it makes no sense. And Hyslop also said that he and Zugel agreed to give a false story that the January 25th call was about Zugel wanting to borrow rent money if it ever came up with the cops. So they did that. Now, I always try to find history on these guys, and I got to say, I don't know which Zugel this is, but I'm hoping it's one of them because these are two totally different people, and it's hilarious. One Zugel I found from the same area in Michigan, was a jockey. Like a horse jockey. He's a horse jockey.
A tiny man.
A tiny man. He was owner Ron King, and the trophy he won trophies that day, so he was doing that. So that's 1973. Then another one from nearby Lansing, which is not very far, is George Zugel, a light welterweight, a light flyweight fighter. Now he could be a boxer. Now he could be a jockey and a light flyweight.
It's possible.
Because you could be it's like under 120 pounds.
Tiny man.
So either way. So I think this is the guy because George Zugel in this area. How many can there be?
Z-O-O-G-L-E?
Z-U-G-E-L.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
It just seems like that's the fucking guy. So this guy's had an interesting life, this George Zugel, and is apparently a tiny athletic man. That's all we know.
That's
what we know. Who's apparently has access to guns if he borrows them from another guy.
Right.
So I'll go to you and you go, yeah, I don't have one, but I can borrow it from my friend. So now we're 3 people deep in for one gun. So now Sharon Goddard and Richard Eckstein are named co-conspirators, like we said, and are named in the murder conspiracy and are named but not charged as co-conspirators. This is such a strange thing. They're named as co-conspirators, obviously, because Woodman Z can't have a conspiracy by himself, like his lawyer said, but they're not charged as co-conspirators, which is fucking bonkers to me. Like, it seems like you have to charge all those people at the same time or else not at all. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the argument and trial is too easy.
Yeah, that's what it is. So now they do have evidence here. The prosecutor says he has evidence that Woodman Z talked repeatedly about the killing with co-conspirators and friends, and he also bragged about being a hitman as well to people. So his whole thing was he goes around telling people that he kills people for money, and he's a hitman, and it's just like that's his brag.
Yeah.
So that's how he gets laid. It's fucking weird, man. So the prosecutor, before all this, says, quote, for Eckstein and Mrs. Goddard, it was love, or probably more accurately, sex. Mrs. Goddard, insurance money, and the defendant, Woodman Z, had a motive to obtain money to support his cocaine habit. Because, did I mention, Norman is a big cokehead, too, as well. And, and I think they were saying that Sharon also dabbled, allegedly. So there you go. Now, introduce Carol Straubel into this mess.
Yeah.
Carol Straubel here is she's a friend of Norman's, and she says that Norman told her how and where he'd commit the murder and that he was going to commit the murder of Ricky. He said that they also have evidence of long-distance phone calls between Eckstein and Goddard nearly daily leading up to the murder. And from what they said is they broke up and were still friends but not together anymore. So you don't talk to someone you just broke up every day. No, that's just weird, especially if they're not the father of the baby inside you. So the prosecutor said that basically that they couldn't find any evidence other than Sharon saying it that she ever discussed a possible divorce with anybody. Okay. Her mom, her siblings, nobody.
Didn't say a word to anybody.
Never brought it up. But she had said that, they were planning on it, but she never told a soul, right. Which is not probably true.
No, that's the most important information in your life. Every person that you see, you discuss it.
Yeah, she'd have told her best friend, her sister, or her mother, whoever. So, and they said that they weren't even sure. They said that the prosecution basically thinks that they never ended their affair. They just said they ended their affair, but never actually did. So, Carol Strobel, she says that since she came forward, she was the witness, by the way, who was the secret witness who came forward later.
Carol Strobel?
She's the one who came forward. She says that since she came forward, she's been threatened by Norman Woodmansee and his family for possible testimony against them. But Woodmansee's mother, she says that Strobel's just angry because Norman didn't want to marry her. Okay. And that's why she's doing all this. Yeah. That's the mother. Oh, she's just bitter because my son doesn't want to marry her. Fucking blah, blah, blah. So this is trashy and hilarious at this point. So the fuck, man. Strobel told reporters that a body shop owner who changed tires on Woodmansee's car after Ricky Goddard was murdered and gave her, basically, she's saying she was with Woodmansee when he got his tires changed out to new tires. That's why they didn't match the tires.
Brilliant.
On his car. That's what she's saying. And she said she'd given her, and Woodmansee had told her on February 7th to keep quiet about the tires. Don't tell anybody he got his tires changed, basically. Which, little things like that will help you get away with murder, by the way.
That's smart.
I was reading this one book, and they were talking about if Ted Bundy had just got his teeth fixed or even fucking fucked him up worse or did something so they couldn't match his bite marks, they said that was like most of the evidence there in Florida. They, like, when you talk to the jury, like if they didn't have that, they wouldn't have convicted him.
Or just
they really didn't have anything else except for piss poor eyewitnesses. I saw him at night from the side from 40 feet away for half a second. It's him. It's got to be him. Like, come on, dude. Like that's not a witness, but bite marks like that. This guy
if he'd
was
worn a bit like that guy in fucking Red Dragon. That guy changed his teeth.
That's what I mean. Well, a lot of people do that, or if they're wanted for something like that, it happened a lot. Murderers will have all their teeth taken out and have dentures put in. They don't give a fuck. They're like, not me.
Yeah.
They'd rather
have those. Yeah,
rather have dentures on the outside than teeth in jail. I guess is, the way they look at it. So Strobel. Apparently, Woodmansee's mother said that, listen, this Carol lady wanted to marry Norman, but he refused to marry her, and she ended up moving out of his house. And the mother said, quote, he'd been married twice and didn't want any more marriages. That was that. So she was out. Now, there's a couple other witnesses, two young women who lived at Woodmansee's home in the summer of 1985, said that they heard him talk about killing someone, but that they didn't believe him. So Shayna Schaaf said that Woodmansee told her, quote, if I wanted to make money, all I'd have to do is pull the trigger. He said there was a lot of insurance money involved. And later on, this Schaaf said that he told her he needed money to buy cocaine.
Yeah.
So that's what they have. So June 1986, they go to trial with this. Which,
my God, that's some flimsy shit.
How'd you like to be the prosecutor here?
No, thank you.
A spurned ex-girlfriend is your only real witness, and a dude who had the shotgun. So people who have it's not a lot of corroboration, is what I'm getting at. So the town though is going batshit for this. By the way, they're hearing cocaine, affairs, pregnant, insurance, money, lust. juicy. This is an absolute soap opera here.
Yeah.
So the newspaper said, quote, a real-life saga of sex, murder, and money has enthralled this rural Southwest Michigan community in a way no television miniseries could match. That's what's going on here. Marion Colvin, who's 67 and works at the Ben Franklin Five and Dime, said, quote, things like this don't happen in our little county. There you go.
It did.
Bet your ass. Another person, Mary Warner, said, quote, people are rehashing the case, trading information, arguing over who's guilty and who's innocent. They have this is their OJ trial. That's what it is. One of the people said the sensationalism of this trial, its cast of characters, its mystery, and its various elements of sex, drugs, and money really appeal to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all the elements.
Yeah. And Kellogg's fucking hates it.
Oh, Kellogg's like, Jesus Christ. Now we got to make Splatteros. We got to make Spatteros now. Perfect. I don't want to make Spatteros. We don't think they're going to sell very well. So the one guy here says, quote, Barry County is a small outfit. He described a county as an outfit.
Outfit.
Which is hilarious. You can't do nothing around here, and bang, it's all over town. You can't do nothing around here, and bang, it's all over town.
Shotgun murder trial, you son of a bitch.
And bang, brains are all over your wall. Holy shit.
Before you know it, there's a cereal with little shotgun and brain marshmallows.
That's how our little brain marshmallows are white, but they got little red spots on them. They're meant to represent drywall taken from the scene. So the trial starts out, and they said they had a huge jury pool, too, that they were going through and everything like that. And Zugel testifies. Zugel needs to testify. I want to know what's up with Zugel here. He's got to be charged for something here, and it'll come. But he testifies that the phone call he and Woodman Z made to Robert Hyslop on January 25th was about borrowing $300 to pay his rent and avoid eviction.
Right.
He testified to this. And as we remember, he didn't say it publicly yet, but him and Hyslop had a little thing there to say, hey, this isn't about this, it's about that. Hyslop testified that the call was actually about borrowing a sawed-off shotgun. So Hyslop didn't go along with the program.
Right.
He's like, I'm not fucking lying.
You just fucked that guy over because that's perjury, babe.
That's perjury, and now you have a shotgun in your hand.
Yeah.
You just put a shotgun in your hand. He put a shotgun in your hand and to your head all at once with that shit.
Well, you just said he needed money. Whoops-a-daisy.
Fucking man. Zugel also testifies that Norman spent the night of the shooting at Zugel's apartment and had left twice briefly to make a phone call and to buy beer. So he couldn't have killed anybody.
Yeah.
And Robert Hyslop, he says that Woodman Z had phoned him to talk about some rent money, but that's when they said, I'm sorry, that was what the plan to what they were going to say was anyway. So then there's a cellmate as well, Brian Snyder, who's a 20-year-old kid here.
Yeah.
He testifies that he talked to Woodman Z about Ricky Goddard's murder while they were in the Barry County Jail. He says that Woodman Z never actually told him he committed the murder, never actually came out and said it or nothing. Yeah. But he did mention a $3,000 offer to kill Goddard and that he, quote, wouldn't get his money now that they're all in jail.
Okay.
So, but he didn't specifically say that he did anything. So there's that.
He certainly says he's owed money. For what?
And Snyder also said Woodman Z told him he only talked to Sharon Goddard, quote, a couple of times there, but that Eckstein was, quote, just a go-between. Okay. He was just, I know a guy who's willing to shoot someone in the head if you need me to get a hold of him. He's the middleman to get an eighth of weed. That's all he is. He's the
middleman to connect you to 3 other people that you'll maybe get a gun from.
Possibly. Pay $5,000 to.
Unbelievable.
So this guy says that Norman, quote, he said he was 46 and they were still young. He said if he had to, he'd take the blame himself.
Okay.
So he's like, they're going to blame me either way, so I'm not going to fucking snitch on them and still get the same amount. I'm fucked. I'm older anyway. They're, whatever. So then basically they cross-examined him and they said, wasn't that just jail talk shit? And the guy said, nope, this is what happened. So they said, did you make some kind of deal with the state? Because obviously you were, in jail for a reason. That's how you got together. So did you make some kind of deal on that? He said, nope. And he said, quote, I'd just like to be a good citizen someday.
Someday? He's 20.
The fuck out of here. Whenever anybody says that, I'm like, bullshit. Nobody's like, I feel like going to court. Nobody wants to go to court and testify. So unless you're getting something for it, justice in your mind for like a loved one, or you're subpoenaed, or it'll get you out of trouble, one of the three is the only reason you're going to get involved in this. Otherwise, people generally mind their own business when it comes to court shit. They don't want to get involved.
Especially guys in prison. Those guys shut up fast because a snitch in prison is not treated well.
No, and court's a pain in the ass, too, in jail. They have to take you from one jail to another, transport. You got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. It's not an easy thing in jail to go to court. So anyway, the jury, when they are excused after that day of Snyder's testimony, that cellmate, they said that the defense attorney told the judge that he intends to present records on a district court case against Snyder to impeach his testimony. He didn't mention what the case was, but the case was he had several charges pending against him, which are eventually dismissed, by the way.
Oh, wild.
Interesting, including attempted murder.
Oh, my God. He's a bad man.
They were dismissed. They stemmed from a mobile home explosion on January 6th on Cedar Creek Road near Dowling, in which 8 people were injured.
Wow, he blew up a mobile home with 8 people inside it.
He fucking blew up a trailer, allegedly, and they dismissed the charges so he would say that Norman said something to him. Wow, they have to have some sort of witnesses. Otherwise, what are they going to put on the stand? You have to have somebody to come talk. They put up Carol Strobel. These are all witnesses with things to gain, man. So Strobel said that they talked repeatedly about Ricky Goddard and that he could kill him. He even said that while she lived with Woodman Z, they frequently partied and did drugs and all that sort of thing. And as of early July, Woodman Z told her that, quote, he had a job to do and he would get paid $3,000 for it.
Okay.
So Woodman Z there in late August, she said that Woodman Z drove her past Goddard's home on Gerd Road. And he said, quote, she said, quote, he said the man who lived in there he was going to kill. And she said, who was it? And Woodman Z told her that, quote, Rich's girlfriend told him that he was supposed to take a gold chain and a ring off the man after he killed him to make it look like a robbery.
Okay.
He referred to it as a job he was going to do for Rich and his girlfriend.
Okay.
So he was like, yeah, I got to help my boss and his girlfriend out. She asked him how he was going to get into the house, and he said that he could ask to use the phone, and the guy would probably let him in. In the 80s, you could do that.
Right, yeah.
Especially a guy.
Yeah.
A guy who, does glass work and shit. He's not scared of he's like, yeah, you could use my phone. He thinks he can handle himself. He's not expected to get shot in the back of the head. So he said he thought he could use the phone. Then Woodman Z told her in September that Eckstein told him that the job was postponed because his girlfriend wanted to increase the insurance coverage.
Oh.
That's what she says. Richard Eckstein was like, it's off for a few months. She's got to increase the insurance, so hold on.
Look at this.
So she also testified that she moved out of Woodman Z's home at the end of September, and then she also said that she was concerned about Woodman Z had told her what he had told her the whole time, and she didn't call the police until February 9th, though. And she said that her call was processed under the Silent Observer program, and she said that, but she didn't ask to receive an award for that. So Strobel also said that she was told that, quote, Norm said that if the police approach him, this is one of his friends, he'll know what to do, that Carol's the only one who knows the details, which is her, obviously. Now, they got that guy on the stand that he told that to, and he said that never happened. He said, quote, Norm had me tell her hi a few times. That was it. None of that ever happened.
I never talked to her. I just said hi.
Oh, my God. Strobel said Woodman Z's mother, Frida, called her after Strobel contacted police and said, quote, she said everybody in the family knows you were the silent observer. Not so silent observer. See, in a small town, that shit'll get out. You know what I mean?
Travels fast.
Norman feels you sold him up the river and he's going to sell you. Oh boy. Now, Carol says, quote, I said, Frida, Norman's killed a man. She said, I don't care.
What?
Now, Frida said that Strobel was never threatened. Frida said, quote, I told her I'd seen the police report and that I knew she was the silent observer, and then she hung up on me. And that was the extent of it. Frida Woodman Z said that she told Strobel once, quote, I hope her stomach turned out like mine did, when she learned that her son had been arrested. So I don't know what that means. I guess she's heavier. I don't know what's going on. Strobel said although she once lived with Woodman Z and was close to him, she believes he killed Goddard and she had a duty to speak out. All these people who don't give a shit about any society and all of a sudden they have a duty is hilarious to me.
Be a good citizen.
She said Woodman Z told a lot of stories and liked to look macho, but he had a strong sense of loyalty and doesn't like squealers. That's what she was told there. Ricky Goddard cannot defend himself now, Strobel said. I just feel very bad that I did not believe Norman and that Ricky's dead. So she also said she's been treated for alcohol and drug abuse since there.
Yeah.
She said she became concerned on learning. She became concerned when she heard of the murder of Shirley Martini on January 4th, 1986, thinking Norman did that. She said that her and her two friends drove to the Martini address, and she realized it wasn't the same home that Woodman Z had driven her past. Mm-hmm. When she learned of the Goddard murder, she said that she, quote, did a lot of praying before she called Silent Observer. And so she said she gave them information about the missing ring and chain, and she eventually led police to the Goddard home and identified it as the one Woodman Z showed her. But the address is also in public knowledge. So you could say, you could look up the address, take them there and go, that's the house he told me, if you wanted to set her up. There's no way to tell where she got that information from or when, is what I'm saying. You just have to believe her. So under cross-examination, she said she did read a Battle Creek Inquirer article on the murder. So she has read about it. But
the Inquirer, though.
Well, no, that's the name of the newspaper, Battle Creek Inquirer. It's not the National
certainly
Enquirer.
Change the name of that.
Yeah, in the 80s, though. They're probably their name since the 30s or something. Who knows?
You might be right, yeah.
So that none of the media reports mentioned the missing jewelry, she said. So didn't mention the missing jewelry, so what the fuck? Jewelry, I know anything. So anyway, so that's their case. That's their whole case. Their whole case is the guy with the shotgun denying that ever happened. One guy selling him down the river, his Woodman Z's ex-girlfriend testifying against him, and a dude who lies about a shotgun. That's his whole, and a jockey who lies about a shotgun. That's the case. So it's a weird one, I would say. So during the closings, the prosecutor delivered an hour-long synopsis of all this shit. Mm-hmm. Defense attorney contended that they did not prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, saying it was full of inconsistencies, and the murder trial had 40 witnesses and 75 pieces of evidence. But as we know, some of those witnesses were pretty thin.
Right.
The prosecutor in his closing said that George Zugel's testimony that Woodman Z was at his house the night of the murder lacked credibility. But somehow Carol Straub's, the ex-girlfriend stuff, has all the credibility in the world.
The angry ex, with plenty of reason to say something awful. We're going to take that into account, but not this guy.
That's what I mean. And now the crowd. This is the prosecutor's. He says this sarcastically. Where would a hitman go after a killing except to be with his cocaine-using buddies? Yeah, that is where he would go. That's the thing. Right. He wouldn't go sit in a cave and think about it. They go. That's after hitmen. After they party, they go get a steak after they kill a guy. Yeah. That's how it works.
The goal was to get coke anyway. Like that's his whole reason. I mean. That's the whole motive. Like coke and meth. It's the Gatorade of murder, James.
That's it. Like we've said for years. So the defense attorney in his summary here at the end, he said that here's all the things that are reasonable doubt that he says. Unaccounted for tire tracks in the snow at the crime scene. Like we said, Norman did change his tires, but still, they don't have evidence that the old tires matched.
Right.
People changed their tires in Michigan in the winter, or
they changed
as well
a lot
in January.
Yeah.
The roads are shitty and it's snowing outside, so it happens. Records of phone calls that do not prove who made them or what was discussed, because they were from Kellogg's. Right. Goddard's knowledge that his insurance coverage was being increased, like he would have known that, the guy who was murdered, and testimony indicating the amounts were reasonable for his lifestyle. It wasn't like it went from $50,000 to $10 million.
Right.
Went to $50,000 to $100,000. It was a reasonable amount. Untouched valuables in the Goddard's house, suggesting that a burglar could have been scared off by something or somebody. Carol Straubel's history of blackouts and hospitalization for alcoholism.
Oh, my God. She blacks out from the alcohol?
Yeah, she's a blackout drinker. And at the time where she says this was all going on, she said that her and Norman were doing tons of drugs and booze.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. The defense attorney said, quote, "There's not one bit of physical evidence tying Norman Woodmansey to this crime." They said that, anyway, if the jury can't find him guilty of premeditated willful murder, Jesus, hard to say, that's first degree conviction, according to the judge here, it may bring a verdict of second degree murder, which proof of premeditation is not required. Which this isn't an accident. Either he planned it and did it, or he didn't. You don't even need to put second. Right. Yeah, it's either first or nothing here. So during the deliberations, they have to be delayed because a juror, after being blinded by the lights of a flashing camera, fell down the courthouse steps.
Oh, my God.
She fell down the fucking steps of the courthouse. Rosemarie Matisse, the juror, suffered a fractured ankle, claiming she was blinded by the lights from television and still cameras flashing at jurors as they left the courthouse.
Why would they do that?
That's what I'm saying. She was in good condition, and the prosecutor said some media people should use discretion in pestering jurors who are working on a case like this. If I was a juror sitting on a case like this, I would not want to be constantly pestered with questions or cameras stuck in my face while I was deliberating the case.
Truly.
Yeah, leave them the fuck alone. Then they also, the people in the town, by the way, are noticing this is costing a shitload of money. This trial will wipe out 2/3 of the money set aside for this entire year for jury trials in this county.
Wow.
Whole budget gone on this one trial. The one Hastings resident, Dallas Nance, this guy, just some old guy they found in the street, he said, "They've been taking the taxpayers' money. Somebody should do a story about how much the news media has spent on this." How much the news media has spent? It's not the news media. It's the fucking court spending it.
He's blaming CBS.
What the hell are you talking about? So you could blame the media for a lot, but not that. So the verdict comes in finally after people are falling downstairs and everything else. And it comes in and he is found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder as well. Woodmansey so far.
Oh my
no
God.
one else is charged with shit, by the way, like we said. July 11th, 86 is the sentencing. And they say to him, "You, sir, may fuck off. Life without the possibility of parole."
Holy shit.
This
seems like pretty easy to appeal and get off, right?
Well, I mean, the problem is on an appeal, you have to have either something in the legal system fucked up or new evidence. You can't just have, that was a terrible trial that I shouldn't have been convicted because they had shit evidence. That'd be a good appeal because that's a lot, most of the time what it is, but that shit gets pushed to the back. Otherwise, everybody would say that. So during sentencing, he maintains his innocence the whole time. He said, "You're making a mistake. I didn't do this. I'm innocent." Wouldn't, cop to it or anything like that. He said he would be exonerated on appeal. And the judge, just for good measure, tacks on a little cherry on top of 40 to 60 years for the conspiracy charge, too, on top of it. Wow.
They hate this man.
Holy shit. So August of 1986, the gun is found. He's already convicted and down the river before the gun is even pulled out of the river.
Unbelievable.
That's wild. The gun that they think was the murder weapon was found here. A South Haven diver who found the gun said he saw the gun in a shell with a marking indicated that it was made from Hungary. He found the gun and a shell basically. Saw in the gun a shell, not saw the gun in a shell. Did I say that backwards?
The shell was still in the gun.
It was still in the gun. He said he later threw the shell away, but I don't know why.
Fuck would you do that?
But the gun, or the shell that he found, this guy, now we don't know because he doesn't have it still, but he remembers that the shell found said it was made in Hungary. Mm-hmm. So that's what he knows. It's gone, but police say that they found that shell casing found in Goddard's home, they believe, was also made in Hungary. Oh. So they think part of the casing that they found there was all made in Hungary as well.
Hold on.
Might match.
So they think the guy was told to go get a gun and do this for us. So he went and got a gun, then showed up to the house with no shells and grabbed a shell from the house and shot the guy?
No. We're talking about the spent shell there.
Right.
The spent shell in the house.
Oh, got you. Okay, the one that was left there. Okay.
Yeah, right, that one. So they're matching that. But the gun to the shell, that's great. That gun killed him. Wonderful. Yeah. Who the fuck was holding it is the problem, and that doesn't tell you
that's
that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like in Norman's house he had a shitload of Hungarian shotgun shells. Right. That would be something to connect him, but this is not. So October 1986, though, if you think he's, if you're rooting for Norman and thinking he's a good guy and he's just kind of whatever, I think this might be a Stephen Avery situation where it's like, he might not have done this, but he is a scumbag, because we have October 86, more charges for Norman here.
Oh, boy.
It's another murder charge from a whole separate person here.
Oh, no.
He faces charges in a June 1984 gunshot slaying of a carnival worker named Frederick Kimberly.
Oh, the poor bastard.
He killed a carny. A 43-year-old carnival worker. How much time did he really have left anyway? Right. I mean, that dude probably would have offed himself anytime in the next couple of years. He really didn't have to do that.
Surviving on deep-fried everything.
Yeah, he's just going to drop anyway. So, yeah, he's eating deep-fried fucking sugar.
Tires.
Somebody's crutch was in there.
Deep-fried everything.
Anything. Deep-fried stuffed animals from one of those dart games. He doesn't give a shit. So this body was found shot in the side of the head, or shot in the back of the head, right behind the ear. We'll talk about that. On July 20th, 1984, it was found. This body was found in a creek besides M66. I guess that's the road in Barry Township, Michigan 66, in Barry County's Assyria Township. The pathologist reported that the bullet entered just behind the right ear near the hairline and severed the brainstem and killed him. So... They thought his name was Frederick Kimberly. That's the problem. So for years he wasn't identified and they couldn't figure out what happened to him. But then later on they figure out, now in 86, that his name is actually Frederick Kuna. Oh. And they find out where he's from, Kuna. First they identified him as Frederick Kimberly because he had an identification necklace around his neck, like a carnival worker pass that said his name was Frederick Kimberly. Because who knows what carnies give us their names of carnivals? Who cares?
Lamb. He's hiding from somebody using an assumed name.
So they finally, in 1986, figured out his real identity, and they contacted his family and all that shit. They had found the Carnival Company identification card on his body with the Kimberly name, and then they later determined that he used several aliases, and that's why. Kimberly's father, Frederick's father, he said that he was notified about his son being killed and that family members had not heard from him since receiving a postcard in summer of 1984, so right before he died. And they said, quote, there wasn't much of a bond between Frederick and his family, given the fact that he hadn't seen his parents in 21 years.
Holy hell.
21 years. So he was a drifter, carny worker guy that... So anyway, he's on trial. He's put on trial for this.
Wow.
Norman is. He takes the stand in his own defense, and he admits shooting Frederick Kimberly. He said, I shot that motherfucker. He said, but he came at me with a knife. Oh. That's why I shot him. He works for a carnival and uses an alias, right? This should be a no-brainer.
Who knows what that guy's up to?
Yeah. He said that he dumped the body in a creek near the M66 later that day. He said, quote, I threw the body over the bridge and went home. I feel bad about it.
Clearly.
That sounds like the Iceman. Yeah, I was all broken up about it.
I shouldn't have done that one.
Yeah, that's when he said about Roy DeMeo, they're like, well, you talked to him for so much. Did you feel bad about it? And he goes, yeah, I was all broken up about it. And he smiles. Fucking hated his guts. He didn't care. So, yeah, he said he feels bad about it. We got to do a bonus on him, too, because I've been reading a lot more on him.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff with that guy we got to talk about, man.
I like the part when he says that he goes, so I let the guy ask Jesus for his life, and I gave him 30 minutes. I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, he goes, said if God saves your life in the next 30 minutes, I'll let you go.
He didn't show up.
That was one of those... There's a lot of mafia people who were serial killers that just happened to work for the mafia, but they would have been serial killers otherwise. Sure. Guys like him, Tommy Pietragallo, there's a bunch of them. Roy DeMeo was a fucking serial killer. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, we'll talk about that kind of shit. Kind of hiding behind all broken up about it. So, and a smile. So he also testified that while driving on the I-69 from Terre Haute, which is where the carnival was, to his home, he picked up Kimberly, who was hitchhiking. Okay. He was hitchhiking near Gas City, Indiana. And Woodman Z said that he and Kimberly were drinking together in the truck, and they stopped in Fort Wayne and in Marshall on the way home. And he said that Kimberly was drunk and in a bad mood. He said that he was in a bad mood because Kimberly was saying that he had all of his shit stolen by somebody else who gave him a ride. He was hitchhiking and somebody picked him up and robbed him of all his shit.
Sure.
So that's why he's pissed. So Kimberly told Woodman Z that he was on his way to Benton Harbor to get a job. So when Woodman Z heard that, he said he offered to let the man stay at his home overnight. Which, how often has a hitchhiker been invited in for then? I'll just take you to my house. Fuck it.
Why don't you just stay with me?
So when he got home, Woodman Z said he went into his house to get his gun, not because he says, quote, not because he was particularly leery of the man, but, quote, because I carry a gun around when I'm home. I always do.
I do that at home.
I just carry a gun. When I get home, that's when I take my gun because I'm unsafe. I'm the most unsafe in my own home with the door locked. That's what that man just said. Wow.
I wander around this city picking up strangers unarmed. That's my thing. And then I get home.
I just do it.
And then I arm myself.
And he said once he got his gun, he came out and he said Kimberly wasn't in his living room. He's like, where is the fucking guy? He's still outside. So he said he went out and he said, hey, why didn't you come inside? He said it's at that point that Frederick Kimberly pulled out a pocket knife and demanded his car keys and his money.
Okay.
Hand it over, mister. And Woodman Z said that Kimberly lunged at him with the knife and cut his arm. So Woodman Z said he kicked him because when he cut his arm, Kimberly kind of got off balance because he was drunk. So when he was off balance a little, it gave Woodman Z a chance to kick him. Yeah. He said he kicked him and he fell on the ground. Then he said he shot him afterwards. Yeah. He said he kicked him to the ground and then shot him. But he also
struggle. I put an excellently placed bullet in him.
Right in the back of his fucking head, execution style, as if he owed John Gotti $100,000. Like this is because it is 86. So he says, quote, I don't even remember pulling the trigger.
Okay.
He said he was in shock, and that's why he didn't go right to the police. Another reason, he said, because he was on probation for larceny. So, I mean, obviously they're not going to believe me. I stole something once. So, he said, quote, and I just don't know. That was the rest of his explanation. He says that he vaguely remembers putting the body in his car, driving down the M66, and throwing the body into the creek. He said that he asked his son, Bill, to help him get rid of the body. So now he tied his kid into this. And Bill said that the police, Bill's statement was read to the jury, and in it he indicated that his father had asked him to, quote, get rid of a body, and that he had answered, quote, you'll have to do that yourself.
That's on you, bud.
I don't think so, Pops. You know what? You should have came to more of my Little League games. Let's put it that way.
Can't we just go fishing, you fucking jerk?
Yeah, we got to get rid of a body? What are you, nuts?
That's Jesus how we get together? That's how we bond?
Really? Jesus, we can't just have a barbecue and watch the fucking Lions game? What are we doing?
Teach me how to build a fire with no matches. What is this?
Jesus. Woodman Z said that he remembers going to his son's house that night and waking him up, but he doesn't remember what he said. He also testified he didn't tell police, obviously because of the probation, and when people were questioning his memory, he said, well, it happened 2 years ago. I don't know. And he said that he would admit to killing a man and then make up with that man. The prosecution said he killed a man, then made up that man came at him with a knife. That's what the prosecution's saying here. They said that the victim was shot in the back of the head. That's inconsistent with Norman Woodman Z's self-serving statements that he acted in self-defense. And additionally, they said the knife was never found, and Woodman Z never told authorities about the killing before his arrest. Yeah. So all these factors mean the verdict comes in, and he is found guilty of first-degree murder again. Mm-hmm. Twice. He's so nice they did him twice. Only 2.5 hours of deliberation and no jurors injured, so that's helpful. He will be sentenced at the same time as a habitual offender for 3 previous convictions of attempted delivery of cocaine and larceny.
Oh, he's in so much shit now.
Now he's fucked. The verdict for premeditated murder carries a mandatory life sentence, and it's just with or without chance of parole. And they ask him about it. His lawyer says, quote, he's stunned. I'm stunned. I hoped for manslaughter and maybe better. The jury deep-sixed us because they knew of the other conviction. He's a very kind person, a soft-spoken guy who is not capable of violence. Well, he did say he kicked a man and then shot him in the back of the head. So even in self-defense, you're capable of violence if you kick a man and then shoot him execution style.
He's admittedly capable of violence.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He didn't kick him and then fire a shot up in the air and say, next one's in your fucking brain, pal. That would have been something to where he's nonviolent and he didn't want to do it. He was just like, pow, boom, bitch, what's up now? What's up now, motherfucker? Like he stood over him. So, anyway, after the trial, they said the key was getting their verdict was the position of that the bullet found in Kimberly's skull, and Woodman Z had not told police about the killing. So all the jurors, when they were polled, said because it was in the back of the head and because he didn't call 911 right away and say some transient carny worker tried to rob me in my house and I shot him.
Right.
So they say, quote, this is the prosecutor, quote, it's unlikely it was an accident in any way. Whoever pulled that trigger knew what he was doing. So what do you think his sentencing is for this going to be? Sentencing comes up.
For sure.
He gets, you, sir, may fuck off, life without. Yeah. So 2 life withouts for this guy, plus
that
40 to
slam
60.
Dunk.
Yeah. And honestly, evidence-wise, like, when there's like a football game where you're like, I mean, it could have been 31-27 either way. You know what I mean? The way things went. He could have just as easily been like walking or getting just like some like time served accidental discharge of a firearm shit for all the things he's done. Because there's no evidence of one murder. And, mixed evidence that he shot a transient carny worker on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead, he got the worst possible outcome. 2 life withouts out of this. This guy has shit luck. So he's going to serve out his prison at the Southern Michigan prison at Jackson, where he was already serving a life sentence. So he doesn't have to move anyway.
Not a far trip.
Now, 1987 comes around. That all was all in 1986. Wow. He had a bad 86.
What a tough year.
Whew, two murder convictions.
Yeah.
87, a $17,500 reward is offered by Ricky Goddard's friends and family for information leading to the conviction of conspirators in his killing.
Smart.
What is that saying?
Yeah.
That's
pissed.
saying they're pissed, and they think they think the wife is into this. So the Ken DeMott of the Sheriff's Department said that the information has been filtering in on a regular basis, but couldn't attribute any of that to the reward or just info coming in.
God.
So May of 1987, now they catch up with Sharon, and she said, they asked, what do you think about the reward? And she said she welcomed any information that could convict anyone responsible for the murder of her husband. But she said she believes that a reward offered this week is, quote, just vigilante justice. That's what she said. It's just you're looking for people to take the law into their own hands.
Yeah.
So this is pretty funny. So what's Sharon been up to in the last year?
I'd love to know.
Well, she gave birth to a daughter named Ashley. We know that. She also has her other daughter, Adrian, who is 9 years old. She said, her attorney said, quote, she would like to see the persons responsible for her husband's death clear her. So she said she'd like to see basically what OJ said. We're going to look for the real murderers. Right. Not that I'm saying she did it. I'm just saying there's, that's the same statement. Right. Yeah, she's just going to go golf. I know she didn't do it, the attorney says. He said that neither he nor his client favor paying for information in criminal cases. That is what every police department in the country does. Right. And it's not good, I don't think. In some cases, it's good. But in some cases, in a case with a high threshold for evidence, it's good. In a murder case, when you need tips, it's good because generally you would imagine in a murder case there has to be a lot of evidence to convict that person. So just someone's tip isn't going to do it. But when they have these tips of like, this person has drugs or this person did that robbery over on there, people get convicted just because someone got $300. You know what I mean? That happens a lot. So anyway, they
murder's
said that
scary too on the tips because
it's true.
You're throwing money out there to people that know about that shit are bad fucking people. A lot of them.
They just didn't say anything,
right.
You know, about who killed this person. You never told anyone. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
What, now you need money to do it?
What's wrong with you? What are you doing in your life that you don't want the police to look at?
Yeah. No shit. Now, her lawyer said that Sharon had not received any money from the federal home life insurance company policies as well. A company spokesman said that $50,000 has been held in escrow until attorneys for Sharon Goddard and Ricky Goddard's family resolve a dispute over its distribution.
His family wants it, not her.
Yep. The insurance company has contested another $50,000 policy taken out. So they're contesting the one taken out right before the death. Okay. They're going, we'll honor the original policy, but we're not tacking that $50,000 on that you put on a month before he died. Her lawyer says if Sharon ever does receive the insurance money, she intends to give it all to her daughters. Okay. That's all. He said the fact that she was named as a co-conspirator in the case does not mean that she's guilty of anything. He said, quote, it was based on Woodman Z's girlfriend's description. It's not on her record. It's something that she doesn't have control over. So, the county prosecutor said that he has no case right now against Sharon or Eckstein, but he added, quote, one jury must have been convinced there was a meeting of the minds between the defendant and at least one conspirator in the act. Yeah. So one man has been he's been convicted of a one-man conspiracy. This is when when it doesn't make sense, right. when you can convict illogical things and it's perfectly legal because that's the way it's set up. This is an illogical thing.
It's wild.
It's just illogical. Yeah. By the end of the case, as it went to the jury, I don't know how the judge isn't like, well, I'm dismissing the conspiracy case because you have made no case for conspiracy. Right. You have charged nobody else. You've not told me what the conspiracy is with charges and actually backing it up with putting your fucking name on it. So what's up?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
What I mean,
it seemed like it could be turned over on appeal, but I guess I don't know, man. I'm shocked.
This is just fucked. So anyway, he says one jury must have been convinced of that, and they said at this point they couldn't find Eckstein at all.
He's in the wind?
He's in the wind. His attorney said that he doubted his client would want to comment on the case. They did get a hold of his attorney, who didn't know where he was either, but said, we're pretty sure he doesn't want to talk about it. So
based on the fact that we can't find him.
We can't find him, and he's disappeared. So October 87, they charge Hyslop. Remember Hyslop? Yeah. They charge him with perjury and an attempted conspiracy to commit perjury.
Oh, my God. More conspiracy. So they charged him.
Yeah, he's going to end up pleading to that and pleading and testifying against even somebody else now. Also, October 29th, 87, they charged George Zugel. He's arraigned on charges of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder, aiding and abetting perjury, and conspiracy to commit perjury.
Oh, that's not good at all.
Holy shit. He's ordered to stand trial on first-degree murder and all those charges in November. So, March 1988, George Zugel perjury trial. He's set to go on trial for first-degree murder the next month.
Yeah.
Wow. Hyslop pleaded guilty to attempted perjury and attempted conspiracy to commit perjury and testifies against Zugel. So Hyslop will sell this guy up the river any second he can. He says that he and Zugel agreed to give a false story regarding the telephone conversation. He says that when Hyslop wouldn't lend him the money, he asked, Zugel had testified when Hyslop wouldn't lend him the money, he asked if he could borrow the gun to collect a debt. He said, quote, "This big guy owed me some money," Zugel testified. "I didn't know what he was going to do if I knocked on the door." Zugel said Woodman Z left his home about 5 a.m. on January 25th, but he did not know when he picked up the gun from Hyslop. Woodman Z, who Zugel said also wanted to use the gun to collect his debt, returned it to Zugel 4 or 5 days later. I asked him if he got the money, and he said no. That's Zugel talking. And they asked him, "Did you and Mr. Hyslop ever have an agreement to testify falsely at Mr. Woodman Z's trial?" And Zugel answered, "No, there was no reason to. I wasn't guilty of anything."
Okay.
So, toward the end of the trial here, the judge requests a contingent of people for protection of the jury because they don't want any more jury problems. They actually have like a special jury unit to like walk them out to their car so nobody bothers them.
Good.
Verdict comes in. It takes them 2 hours to find Zugel guilty of conspiracy to commit perjury.
Okay.
He's also found guilty of being a habitual offender, having 3 previous felony convictions.
Oh, God damn it.
He is to be sentenced here, and then he's going to go on trial for first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder as well. The assistant prosecutor said they'll have an impact. His convictions will have an impact on his upcoming trial, but his upcoming trial won't happen. Why? Because they flipped him and he's going to testify. Against whom?
This shit is a mess.
Against whom will he be testifying, you asked?
Who?
You ask, maybe?
Is it the
Sharon
wife?
Goddard and
You
Richard
betcha.
Eckstein, because they're going to be charged with murder now. This is just a fucking merry-go-round of I'm getting off the pink horse and getting on the purple one. Just who did it? Who knows? Whack-a-mole. Whoever you whack committed a conspiracy to whack-a-mole. That's what we got going on here. So,
but really, I mean, they have to do it this way, and it works. It makes sense, the story for the prosecution, because if Woodman Z did it, he has no reason to do it. You know what I mean?
Except for money.
Right. And who would give him money would be the wife. That's the only reason.
Who the fuck else would pay him to kill him? That's the point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, cui bono, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So he benefits, he's supposed to anyway. So anyway, Zugel ends up pleading. He pleads to aiding and abetting second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit perjury. He is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 25 to 50 years in prison.
My God.
Damn, they banged him hard.
Michigan does not fuck around.
Oof. So April 8th, 1988, Eckstein and Sharon are both arrested for murder, and also Hyslop is sentenced as well. He's like turned twice on people. There's so many people turning on so many people. You don't even know like who's on what team anymore. Right. It's insane.
It's ugly.
He was sentenced. He pleads guilty to attempted perjury and conspiracy to obstruct justice. And he is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 1 year in jail with 234 days credit.
Okay.
So not that long in jail. So he should get out right now with probation, with parole. Yeah, you get out right now. And 3 years probation and a $1,500 fine. Okay. That's what he gets. July 88, Goddard and Eckstein go to trial. So far, Zugel, 25 to 50 years.
Yeah.
Hyslop, probation, but still convicted, got to go to court.
6 weeks in jail.
He served 234 days in jail already. Yeah. There's that. Woodman Z, fucking life without time squared. Life without squared, okay? Yeah. Now, Goddard and Eckstein go to trial in 88. And Zugel is their star witness. He pled guilty, like we told you here. Now, they're on trial. They're charged with aiding and abetting first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. That's the charges. They allege that Goddard and Eckstein obviously conspired to make $100,000 and that Woodman Z's already been convicted, so it should be a slam dunk. Kim Baldwin. Enter Kim Baldwin to the picture. 21 years old. She said Eckstein had brought a woman to Woodman Z. Remember her? She's the one who lives with Woodman Z and testified.
Yes.
He says that Eckstein brought a woman to Woodman Z's house one day. Now, Eckstein doesn't hang out with Woodman Z, so yeah. He said that the three of them went in a room and closed the door.
Okay.
So they were either planning a murder or getting kinky. Either one. Or doing coke. That's the other thing, too.
There you go. Yeah.
People close doors to do coke because they don't want to give other people any. So Baldwin also told police that she thought that the woman was Sharon Goddard.
Okay.
That's what she thought. But she ends up testifying in court that she's unsure and now doesn't know. Now looking at her in court 2 years later, she's not positive it was her.
She's not pregnant
Basically,
anymore. I can't tell.
She's not. Yeah. Essentially, it's 3 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm not positive. I mean, her hair could have changed, whatever the fuck. So Kim Baldwin said that she and Shayna Schaaf were told they would earn money by distracting the victim from the front while Woodman Z shot him in the back of the head.
That's what she heard them saying.
That's what she said. No, she said that he told them that.
Oh, Jesus.
Kim and Shayna are the two girls that live there, and they were told by Norman that he would pay them if they distracted dudes so he could shoot him in the back of the head. She said that Ricky Goddard's wife, Sharon, was supposed to find the body. That was the plan. She was supposed to come home from work. Oh, no, call the cops.
Really, I didn't do it.
Yeah, her testimony in the trial here, and they try Goddard and Eckstein together, but they have separate juries, which is weird. I guess just two juries sitting there in panel.
24 people sitting there in court?
Yep. Yeah, two jury boxes. So strange, right? You'd have to bring in like bleachers for that. So Baldwin also said that under cross-examination from Eckstein's attorney, Baldwin said she didn't pay attention to what Woodman Z was saying. Quote, it just didn't seem real to me. She just thought he was talking out of his ass. When cross-examined by Goddard's attorney, Baldwin admitted to earlier testimony in which she said she didn't hear anything about being paid because the house she was in was full of people at the time. Mm-hmm. So she's testified to two separate things here. She heard something clearly and then she didn't in the other one. She also testified earlier that it was not Sharon Goddard who showed up at Woodman Z's home with Eckstein. That contradicts her current testimony that Goddard was the one there. She also testified earlier that Schaaf was asleep upstairs when Woodman Z made his offer. And also Schaaf testified that Woodman Z, quote, asked me if I was interested in making money, big money. All I had to do was pull the trigger, which seems to be his language anyway. Yeah. Like Baldwin, Schaaf testified she didn't believe Woodman Z and thought the offer was a joke. But they both testified that he's offering them money.
They got to go to more comedy clubs and find what jokes really are, because that is not a good joke.
It's a weird joke. It's a really weird joke. So either way, though, someone is offering this dude lots of money to, do this. So anyway, they played a tape recording of Sharon's interview with a detective. In the interview, which was conducted 5 days after the murder, Sharon frequently laughed about incidents in her life and in her marriage. She cried briefly while describing finding the dead body. So saying that she didn't have the right. She didn't have the right
the
emotional
reactions
reaction.
are bad. Yeah,
they're bad. But 5 days later, too, and you don't know if maybe she took a Xanax. You know what I mean? Like Valium, maybe she took a Valium back then. Right. Back then, they would have given her a Valium.
Sure,
she might have been fine by then. Closing arguments here. They added that Woodman Z returned to Zugel's home after the murder with a jewelry box, according to Zugel, containing a gold ring and a necklace, two items which Sharon reported missing.
Yeah.
So, deliberations come on here. Right before deliberations, they're all going in here. They go through all the evidence in the closing, obviously. They say that they thought this out beforehand and planned it as early as July 1985. And they said, quote, this is the prosecutor. He says, quote, George Zugel and Robbie Hyslop are not good people. And some of our other witnesses leave a little to be desired, a lot to be desired. He said, though, as scumbags as they are, yes, we brought you a panel of scumbags, but as scummy as they are, their testimony has been supported by other people and the evidence here. Yeah. So, that's how you can believe it.
These are shitbags, but they're telling the truth.
But they're truthful shitbags. They stink pure and true and straight. So he says, taken together, the evidence shows that Sharon Goddard conspired with Richard Eckstein to kill Ricky Goddard. So George Zugel, and then the defense attorneys say George Zugel lied under oath before, and George Zugel lied under oath here. George Zugel would say anything George Zugel had to say for his own good.
Yeah.
Most times George Zugel's ever been said in one fucking time. They also said that the testimony of their clients is more believable than Zugel, or that of the other, quote, raft of leeches the prosecutor prevented. Wow, this is a great fucking story. This is just a scumbag
wild. For every mile, man.
Next week's is fucking gross. So let's enjoy the fun here. So after 5 hours and 40 minutes, the 8-woman 4-man jury that Sharon has, her jury, came back, and here's the verdict for her. They found her not guilty of aiding and abetting first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
Oh, my God.
Whole separate jury for Eckstein here in 6.5 hours of deliberation. Same charges, found him not guilty of everything. Apparently, there was an audible gasp from the gallery. All the newspapers, everyone was like, oh, for real?
Oh, my God.
Goddard burst into tears after the verdicts were read and hugged her attorney. She was not expecting that at all. She didn't pull like an OJ, just that's right, and grab Johnny Cochran's shoulder or some shit. This was oh my God, holy shit. Are you fucking serious? Is this for real? So the victim's parents here, Ricky's parents, John and Beverly Goddard, and other family members left the courtroom visibly upset.
Yeah.
I would say so. Sharon Goddard said, quote, "I'm glad the people know my husband was a good man. The children are ours, and God does work miracles when you believe."
Oh boy.
She brought God into this. Eckstein said, "There were times in the last 2.5 years where I had doubts about the justice system." Well, this has given me doubts about a lot of shit. Me and you both, asshole. But now I know the justice system works.
Okay.
This case made him think the justice system worked.
Shocking.
If someone came to me and said, quick, you have to present the side that the justice system doesn't work in a debate, I'd be like, cool. And I'd get this research and I'd just bring it and read the whole story and go, does it work? Huh?
Not sure.
Any of this work? For anybody? Is any of this work? I'm talking anything. So Goddard said she was going home to, quote, hold my children. Eckstein said he's going to take the week off, then return to his job as the machine shop supervisor at the Kellogg's company because they both still fucking work there.
Oh, that'll be very comfortable for everybody around.
Right? This is crazy.
Christ.
He's just taking the week off. He said he doesn't blame Sharon for anything and that the two remain friends.
Jeez.
He said, all I can say is that the jury heard the evidence they had and they didn't convict, and we have to live with that. Oh, that was the prosecutor said that. Mm-hmm. He said, yes, I am disappointed, but I accept our system. This is our system at work right now, like it or not. Which is how I wish everybody would take every fucking L in every court case and election and everything else. Just say, yep, well, I'm disappointed. Obviously, I would have liked for things to be different, but that's what happens. So everybody, imagine if all the I just like it when a lawyer says that at the end of a case when they're like, I mean, I would have liked to have won, but I mean, what are you going to do? I didn't. That's what happens. So tough shit. Rather than they're act all overly fucking like they've been attacked. Overly, this is the worst abomination in the history of the legal system of this country. Calm the fuck down. Proportionality.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Right.
So he said that the defense attorney said he felt the jury did not believe the testimony of George Zugel, who had pleaded guilty to all that other shit. And so Eckstein also not there. And they said, quote, the lawyer said, there's such a contrast between Sharon and Rich Eckstein and Zugel. They were so believable and he was so unbelievable, and that's what did it. And they said that Eckstein says that he feels vindicated, that they demonstrated a community opinion of his peers, that he's not guilty. He's happy. So Woodman Z appeals, obviously, on all sorts of shit. And he appeals. They said that argued in his brief that there was insufficient admissible evidence. The court noted that the specific objections to the admission of evidence cannot be raised for the first time on appeal absent a showing of manifest injustice, like we were saying. Right. You can't just say, hold on, we got to relitigate that.
Hold on, I got fucked.
Yeah, it has to be like they fucked me on purpose, right, in a way. So he said, however, though, since the challenged evidence is a major part of the prosecution's case, the court decided to review the issue, and they ruled that the telephone records listing calls between Woodman Z and others, and the testimony of Kim Baldwin, Shayna Shafe, Brian Snyder, and Karen Strobel, that's the cellmate in county jail, the ex-girlfriend and the two chicks he lived with, and testimony about the acts and declarations of his alleged co-conspirators were all admitted properly. And the argument that Woodman Z's counsel was ineffective is also rejected. They said, we conclude that even had trial counsel delved into physical evidence in this manner, the verdict would have not been any different. And they say that's the way it worked. And so Norman goes to prison. And from what I found here, I found something in prison where a bunch of prisoners had a class action lawsuit against the prison.
Sure.
And he was one of them. Prisoner number, or I don't know if it's his number or just his case number, 184347. And it said the claimant requests $49.25 reimbursement for 8 tape cassettes he ordered but did not receive. The department recommends approval of this claim.
So he's suing for $50.
Yeah, someone in the mailroom of the prison stole his tapes and he wants his $50 back. So they said we should probably give it to him. Now, looking everybody up, Norman, I can't find him in prison. He might be dead. I'm not sure because he was 47 in 1986. So,
yeah, that could
put him in his 70s now, 30 years in prison. He could be going down. If not, he's in prison. He's not getting out. He never got out. Richard Eckstein, I found out, is still alive.
Yeah.
He is 65 years old, lives in Michigan at some point. I won't say where.
Retired Kellogg's worker?
I would assume. I don't know. But he lives in Michigan somewhere. And, I mean, he's found not guilty, so I'm not saying anything. He did have some brushes with the law later on in his life, though. 2015, texting while driving. And then he paid a $3,700 fine, and then he exceeded the posted speed limit by 6 to 10 miles an hour.
Did you
Somebody
say
busted him
$3,700 fine?
$3,700 fine
for texting and driving?
Texting while driving.
Wow.
Yep. And then someone gave him a ticket for going 6 to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
But that means he was doing 15 to 20.
And they knocked it down for him, probably give him a favor. So he ends up paying a fine for that. But that's the only legal trouble he got in for the rest of his life.
$3,700 fine. He got dinged harder for texting and driving.
Way harder. Sharon Goddard, on the other hand, from what I could find, it was hard to track her down. I believe she died in 2017 in Michigan. Oh, no. 90% sure it's her. I'm not 100% sure it's her, but I believe she died in Michigan in 2017. Someone with her exact name did. Mm-hmm. Now, Hyslop, from what I found, I believe he's still alive.
Really?
Hyslop as well. And George Zugel died in May 2011 in Elkhart, Indiana.
Jesus.
So, yeah, that's Eckstein and Hyslop are the winners of this crazy fucking
stand alone.
They stand alone along with the cheese.
Really, Eckstein is the one that came out smelling like a rose.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He got nothing and he's still alive. 65. He's probably got great hair still, I bet. Yeah. It's one of those guys. He's just a lucky guy. So, anyway, that is Hastings, Michigan. And just a goddamn mess of a case. That was...
What a shitstorm.
That's why I kept looking into it, and it took me reading through it. I was like, it's hard for me to understand what's happening. I have to do this case just so I can figure out what the fuck happened here, because it's a mess. It's a real mess. And I still don't know. All I know is one guy got in trouble, another guy served 25 to 50.
Yeah.
One guy that certainly didn't shoot him and didn't make any money off of it. The other guy might have shot him, but also didn't make any money off of it, and everybody else walked free. It's like, what is happening here? So, If you like that show or are confused about that show and just want to talk about it and tell everyone about it, do that. Get on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. It really does help a lot. That purple icon, we don't know why, but it does help. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now for everything crime and sports and small town murder. We have it all there. We have your merchandise, tickets to live shows all over the place. Get your tickets to the end of 2021. Shows I know have tickets left: San Diego, Brea, and Tempe right there. They all have tickets left. Get your goddamn tickets now. Please do that. The other ones, Portland, Seattle, they're all sold out. I don't think there's anything left there. But get your tickets to all of those right now. We are so goddamn excited for it. Do that, please. I can't wait. Get your merch on the site too. There's tons of merch. You can wear your Mind Your Fucking Business shirt to the goddamn show. In addition to that, please follow us on social media so you'll get up to date everything whenever a show's rescheduled or things like that. You'll be the first to know when a show is posted. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at SmallTownPod on Facebook, at SmallTownMurder on Instagram. Do that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Such good stuff. And this week, I feel like they get better every time. There's just, I don't know what it is, but we're really honing those down to a science. And
there's no way anybody has better Patreon stuff than us.
I would think not. I really think we might have the best Patreon in the podcasting game. Because from what I hear from people, usually people are like dicking off. We have ours are really funny. A lot of times sometimes we're dicking off, but we're dicking off about a subject.
And the subject is everything.
They're really funny, but this week's are no exception, and honestly, they kind of go above and beyond. We have avoidable off-field injuries for crime and sports, and you get access to both of these and all the back catalog. Everything we make, you have access to over the $5 level, so 5 and above. Do that. Avoidable off-field injuries, so people who just did dumb shit and ruined their career, hurting themselves off the field. And then for small-town murders, we've been asked so many times about what the hell is going on with Florida. Why, foreign people ask us, people from our own country ask us. So we're going to look into it a little bit. We're going to look into, basically, I'm going to find some of the weirdest murders I can in newspapers and shit from the last 100 years in Florida. And that's what I did. And it's hilarious. There's alligators involved in some of them. It's absolutely insane. It's wild. And you can get that and all the back catalog and everything else and our undying affection over at patreon.com/crime and sports. Oh, but wait, there's more. There is. You will also get, if you order right now, or really any time you do it, you will get a shout out from Jimmie Whisman. Your name won't be pronounced correctly. That's true, but he will try, and he does mean his best. So you can do that right now. And if you would just like to have, let's say, you want to get the shout out, you like to support the show that you like, you want to get your name mispronounced, but you don't like Patreon, that's fine too. You can go to PayPal, use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com, and get that same amazing shout out at the end of the show. That said, I need to hear the names of the people who are so goddamn spectacular. They make me want to sing and act like a fucking commercial host. Jimmie, hit me with those names right now.
This week's executive producers are Darren Althofer. He wanted to say happy birthday to his life partner, DK. I didn't have a name, just DK.
Happy birthday, DK. Good for you.
Other executives this week are Doug Michalik? Don't know. Michalik? Michalik?
I don't know. One of those, maybe.
Joanne
not.
Ahern, Rob Lanto, Jordan Bennett, of course, Francesco Danino, Garrett DeBose, Celeste Warlick, Robin Sherrill, Colin Sherrich, and Kaylee and Vincent Whalen. Thank you guys for everything you do. You're
all
fucking
amazing.
So thankful. You're terrific. Thank you. You're amazing. Other producers this week also are Jennifer Alasakis, DL Bass, Trey Jelly, Aislinn Kalab. It's her birthday. Aislinn, that's right, but I don't know about Kalab. It could be Kalob. It could be Caleb. Caleb. I don't know. Happy birthday, Aislinn.
Happy birthday. Don't know how to say your name.
Alexandria Kritkewitz. I don't know. Ashley Vio, Marcel Destin, Erica, what is this? Zalinardo? She's been with us. Erica has been with us for 4 years. She's listened almost the whole fucking time. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Nederland, Doc Un en Schiepensbo Mataship. That's that fucking. They wanted me to try it. As if. Good luck, what, am I going to fucking nail it?
Good luck.
Not going to happen. Oh, boy. Water got me there. Did you hear it?
I did. Yeah, it didn't go down right.
Also, Wirit Hiran Mawit Makawit Wirit Hiran Makawanich. Nope.
Yeah.
Maybe. Janice Hill, Susanna Platt, Thomas DeMello. He's in Italy at the moment because he's working there. Bryn Sanders, Jake Goins, Catherine Collado, Jessica Finch, Rebecca Thomas, Kristen Bellinger, James Martyr, Maria Rasper, Peyton Meadows, Thomas E. Sims, David Beers, Emmeline, what is this? Emmeline Brudley. Corporal Carl Kirshner, Rabbi Shmulovich,
Rabbi, our people,
Baron Miguel Sisu Luna. What is it?
Baron Miguel Cicluna is a famous
he's from the
WWF
Isle of Malta,
jobber.
James. Yeah,
he's from Malta. That's his whole thing. Yeah, he was a bad guy in wrestling.
All right,
one of Vince McMahon Sr.'s favorite people.
Jim Pizzi, Ashley Hughes, Michael St. Clair, Casey Wood, Zoe Bancroft, Billy Hadfield, sorry, Billy, Brenton Lane, Shamil Singh, yes, April Gustavez. Boy, oh boy. Mike Shields, Rick Smith, yes, Rem MTZ, Kenneth Alden, Matthew Coons, Troy Park, that's Morgan Morrison, Haven Sadana, Doc Porter, Zach D. Hoop. It's coming off the rails.
Take it to D. Hoop, Zach.
Listen. Candace Cortez Reagan, Daniel Galbraith, Clarence Greiser, Hugh Peltier, Kevin Larson, Addison Hamilton, Andrew Platt, LWJ. I can't even read letters in order. What the fuck? LWJ times 2. Claire Griga, yep. Artemis Fowl, Crystal Grabman, Tyler Late, Emily with no last name, Cindy Dietrich, Catherine Watson, Sean Simon, Bradley Kyle, Cindy Ferrantini, Ian Thomas, Leslie Bogue, Chris Honey, Tyrone Johnson, Michael Carpenter, Keyshawn Almond, Brittany Tony, Cecil Moon, Jesse Loafmiller, Jim Heath, Keith Sanderson, Mia Nelson, Ty Panko. Like
one of those.
Fucking shrimp. Panko. What the hell? Riley Brown, Anina Stevens, Mark Wismer, Captain Doug Workmaster, Jennifer Knopf, Chance McDaniel. I think that's that guy. I think he lives here in Phoenix. I think so. Maybe not. If it's not, Chance McDaniel, Brandon Mainsmith, Adele Johnson, Teresa Moore, Colton Curtis, Monty and Rudy's mom, Gavin Lack, Dana Buchanan, Katie Brewers. I think that's Katie in Minnesota. Thank you, Katie. Clemens Claus. That's Santa's son, Clemens. Emily Franklin, Lisa Robertson, Sean Edwards, Robert Spencer, Brooke Blake, Danielle with no last name, E.H., don't know who that is, just the letters, April H., Mandy Privet, Joe Smith, Ramsey Arnold, Andy with no last name, Lindsay Wartner, Linsett? What? Did I do a T instead of a D? I think that's what that is. Laura Howard, Melissa Zine, Mia Landon, Dakota Horton, Teresa Pritchard, Daniel Bannister, Brody Crawford, Dana Sandrine, Clint with no last name, the Katies at Rex Trophies Shop. Thank you, Katies. Kendall, probably not the Jenner.
I'm sure it
could be.
She's got enough money to throw around. Why not?
Should be. May as well. Kat Cox, Seth Ashworth, Jason Jones, Carlos Sanchez, Ashley Cruz, Michael McKee, Connor King, Rich Murphy, Lisa Smith, Lori Sparks, Carl Tolbert, Amber Vroman, Libby with no last name, Kim Graham, Victoria Rossi, Blake Tourette, Santa Muerta? What? That's the coolest. Santa Muerte. Mary Alexander, Betty with no last name, Joe Conair, Matthew Bowman, CJ Ratch, Joshua Kirkpatrick, Tristan with no last name, Miguel Quintanilla. Wow, that's badass. Nice. Kevin Ray, Stacy with no last name, Willie Williams, Rachel First, Samantha Lindsay, Jacqueline Iman, Nick with no last name, Dustin Odom, Feth Fan, Samantha Timms, Alex Forrest, Stanislav Forrest, of. Lacey Quimby, Shelby Loveland, Andrew Pope, Scott Finley, Angie, Brabender? Brabender. Good for you. That's a pretty bitchin' last name for a chick.
That's not bad.
Bending
cool.
them. Just bending them. Hannah Moore, Mason with no last name, Marsha Frazier, Shelby Hughes, Josh Vincent, Jordan Frump, Wanda Lovejoy, Cuddling Death, Alexandria Zoboyovsky, Laura Toe, Karen with no last name with a C also, Nicholas Pleasant Farts, I doubt it, Sandy Francisco, Maria Jacques, Casey with no last name, Stephanie Albier, Chris Fitzgerald, Nori McClellan Ball, Olivia Wood, B. Barrows, and Tyler Kosme, and all of our patrons. You guys truly, you've changed my life. You changed James' life. You make every day so much better. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of this, and of course for your support.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Fuck,
You're
these
amazing.
people are the best.
Yeah.
We love you so much, honestly. Thank you so much. And this is all because of you. Everything we do, we just love it. And your Patreon and your PayPal, your donations keep us to making the show that we want to make.
Exactly.
And not a show that we have to make to get necessarily the biggest audience of. Yeah, we're not throwing out a wide net. We're throwing out the net we want to throw out, and that's the way we do it.
It's just oiled and seasoned with the right bait. That's all.
It's just right. That's the thing. It's like a pizza place like back east. The pizza oven is the key because it's been seasoned for years. Right. We've seasoned it up perfectly, and you guys, you're amazing at it. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Jimmie, what if they wanted to thank you or yell at you or tell you anything? How could they do it?
You can be whatever way you want to be to me on at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you truly for making this something. What about you?
You can find me at Jimmie P is funny, or just copy and paste. You do not even copy and paste. Just copy and paste my name if you want to find me because you won't spell it right. Or just Google us and Google the show and you'll find us and get links and go right to where the hell we are and you can find us. Super easy to do that. Thank you so much, everyone, honestly, for everything this week that you've done for us. I'm just blown away by all of you and all of your support, and thank you, and we really, really hope you enjoyed the show. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.